Hello there, welcome back to the Agostinho Zinga show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and this is episode number 860. That is Ocho Seis Zero of the Agostinho Zinga show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere within the depths of East London. How you doing? How you feeling? Great, amazing, good to know, good to know. How am I doing? All things being well, I can't complain. All things are well, all things are well on my side of the freaking pond. Today I'm actually looking forward to today because United are playing actually. United are playing today against Southampton later on, so I'm looking forward to that game after our stellar victory in the FA Cup against the deadly and the much maligned Arsenal. So I'm actually looking forward to that. Got a big gym session happening too, and I've got a good bit of grub coming up. So I am having an absolute splendid day, and I hope you are wherever you may be. So today's particular episode, we have a lot to talk about. We have to talk about Drake stuff regarding his suing of UMG now, regarding the Not Like Us record. We got some other stuff to talk about in terms of Nigel Sylvester's new shoes. We've got an update on the Corteiz design competition controversy and a few other bits and bobs. So welcome, strap in, get yourself a nice drink, hydrate yourself, and this is the Agostinho Zinga show, the #1 cultural commentary podcast in the entire world, except no other imitation. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. And big up to everybody as well joining in live via the live stream chat. I do usually stream these podcast episodes live, so if you do want to check them out live, make sure you check me out at Tazs, which is at Tazs. Go on YouTube, write Tazs in there. You should find me. If not, the Agostinho Zinga show. You'll find my YouTube channel there. Click on the live tab and you'll see all the podcasts there that I rip then and put into a podcast platform. So thank you for joining me, people, in the live chat. Thank you for those who are joining me after the fact. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate every single one of you. Cool. Let's continue. So, first things first, to get out of the way, because I was an idiot and didn't update this at the time it happened. But big shout outs go out to United. Big shout outs go out to United, mate. Absolutely. Big shout outs go to my team, Man United. We conquered and we slayed the dragon that is Arsenal away from home in the FA Cup. Absolutely amazing result. But to be honest, the result is great. But I think the performance is something that we should be way more proud of as fans than the actual result itself, because it's shown that when Amorim has some time on the training ground, when Amorim spends some time drilling these players, getting them kind of behind his philosophy, we have a potential worldy manager on our hands. We have potentially a manager that could steer us in the right direction. And I'm starting to believe now, people who are saying that Amorim might not be the guy that gives us a title. He might not be the guy that gets us Champions League, but he'll get us closer than the other people that we had previously. He's going to set a precedent, set a standard, set like basically a professional standard that players will now have to abide by, because I feel like for the longest time these players were getting away with murder, and the getting away with murder aspect for me was mostly concerning their inability or lack thereof to just do the simple things: tracking back, defending as a team, attacking as a team, helping each other up. No, less of the name calling and the finger pointing. And another thing that I've also noticed, there's been a real decisive change in how they treat substitutions too. The players, when they get substituted, they sprint off the pitch. They literally sprint off the pitch. They can't get off the pitch quick enough. So I think that's a prerogative, or that's an instruction they've been given by the coach to be like, hey, when your number comes up, run off the pitch as soon as possible to give the other player an opportunity to go and impress, to give the other player an opportunity to help the team. Run off the pitch. There's none of this sulking, acting like you're the main star or the main character thing. People are now running off the pitch and making sure the substitutions can go as quickly as possible. And I'm also seeing a lot of encouraging words for the players themselves. I've also read a report. When did I see the report? I saw the report somewhere online. I don't know where it was, but I did read a report somewhere that said that Amorim's got a system similar to a lot of like old school coaches. It's a very like Sunday league, lower league type of thing, where if a player gets injured, you don't just tell them they can't join the team and be a part of the team bus or whatever. They have to kind of train by themselves and they watch the game in the stands, or they can watch it at home. No, Amorim demands, even if you're injured, you still have to take part in some sort of training session and you still have to be involved with the squad. So the injury isn't an excuse for you to have a day off, because I guess some players, when they get injured, they don't mind because it's kind of like a day off. But I guess if you're injured and he's still requiring you to come in, it kind of feels annoying. But also, it has a double, it's like it has a double effect in that it also makes you want to play more because you're in around the players, you're in around the squad, but you can't play, you can't contribute. And most football players, even the most mercenary footballers out there, they all want to play the game. If you've watched Sunday League, if you've gone to go watch football at goals, one of the worst things you can ever do is watch those things for a prolonged period of time because you want to jump in on the field and play yourself. It's impossible not to get the itch to play. So he kind of makes you want to play, but always keeping you around. So I like that aspect of it. But anyway, regardless of all that, I thought the game against Arsenal was fucking stupendous. I was very impressed with the performance of our players, more so because we went 10 men down and we were able to basically win on penalties. I thought the Bruno Fernandes goal, man. Oh, the Bruno Fernandes goal was so fucking good in that it involved us closing down one of their players. It involved Garnacho not shooting and getting his head up and passing the ball to Bruno, which is something that we probably haven't seen from Garnacho before Amorim came in. I think if Amorim wasn't here, Garnacho definitely would have took that shot from the outside or from the inside. He would have cut in, shot with his left, or he would have gone on the outside and hit the shot on that acute angle. There's no way he would have passed it to Bruno. So I think the fact that he's been dropped from the squad, he's probably been told certain things about how he should and shouldn't play. I think now he has been given a way of playing that now he's kind of abiding to and doing the best that he can with. And I think, to be honest, he'd be a much better player for it. Even if he doesn't end up being a good player for us, I think whatever team he goes to, he'll end up kind of benefiting them the most. Even though the pass, I'd say to be a little bit critical, the pass was a little bit bobbly. He didn't really pass it along the floor to make it easier for Bruno to strike. But Bruno, being the expert technician was able to keep his eye on the ball. And even though he shinned it, it still went in. Like a brilliant goal. Because Raya is also a really good shot stopper. Even though he didn't show it at the penalties, David Raya is a very good shot stopper. So he had to really get that as far away as possible from David Raya. It literally clipped the inside of the post, if I'm not mistaken. It was so curled, so direct in that left-hand side, Bruno's right, that it went bang off the post and into the goal. Amazing. Unfortunately, we conceded straight after. That was a concerning thing. At that point, I thought the game had shifted. I'm not going to lie. Because if I'm not mistaken, Dallo gets sent off first. Then they get a goal. So I thought the entire nature of the game had switched. But Jesus Christ, man. What a performance. Especially the penalty save. That penalty save from Bayinda. Bayinda needs to be applauded. From absolutely playing horrible one game to people thinking, okay, Erik ten Hag was right to not ever rotate him with Onana, to then be able to turn in that second half performance, extra time performance, and penalty performance, incredible. I don't think I've ever seen that from goalkeeper. Because I feel like goalkeeper is a very hard position to play in, especially at United. It's probably one of the hardest positions at United to play in, alongside maybe up front. Being a striker for United or being a goalkeeper is a very thankless task. Everything is on you, basically. If you let a goal in, fans think you should have saved it. If you play well, no one's really, going out of their way to over-thank you and shit. And the striker, if you don't score, you're going to get pelted and people are going to think you're a fucking joke thing. So those positions are really hard to play in. And Bayinda had a very shaky first half. He punched a lot of crosses that he should have probably caught. He just looked a bit, all over the place. And I was thinking, oh no, we're going to have another Bayinda classic. But somehow, don't know what happened, whether he got a pep talk in the flipping halftime changing room, in the changing room, whether or not he just got his head together, whatever happened, or maybe just a penalty save. Maybe the penalty save just gave him a confidence. That second half performance from Bayinda was absolutely phenomenal. Legit phenomenal. He might be my man to match. Because that's very hard to do as a goalkeeper. To change your way of playing like that, especially since you have a so shaky first half, incredible. The penalty saves during the penalties, incredible. The saves during extra time, incredible. Absolutely brilliant performance. And I think his level of performance, that kind of emanated through the entire team. And then the other one I want to kind of big up and say a lot of praise to is Joshua Zirkzee, man. Joshua fucking Zirkzee. I don't know. I think, in a weird way, Højlund, although he didn't play well, obviously, I think he did a good job in terms of occupying the Arsenal centre-backs, right? In Saliba and what's his fucking name? In Saliba and Gabriel. He did a really good job in occupying them. But he didn't really do much, right? He kind of lost the ball a few times, he was getting wrestled. But he kind of, for lack of a better term, he tired them out. And then when Zirkzee came on, he was able to kind of play a little bit off the shoulder. He came short a few times. He held them off a few times. He did this incredible skill. actually, where he actually received the ball, chopped back on his right foot, sent fucking Saliba flying and spread the ball out wide. He did really well hold that play. But Joshua Zerski was a very, 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 very good for that cameo that he did when he came on. To go from that and then scoring a winning penalty after being hooked before halftime against Newcastle and basically being in tears and being forced to come back on the bench and sit there and watch the whole game. Nah, you have to give the guy credit, man. And also, I love how he dealt with it. Amarin, because when Joshua Zerski left the bench to go in the changing room, Amarin could have easily fined him and told him you're not going to play for the squad again. But I think he understood how he felt as a player, and I think that's probably the benefit of him being an ex-player. He understood how Zerski felt. He didn't take it as a disrespect of his authority, of his leadership, of his of his coaching status, and just saw it as a guy that was hurt about being hooked before halftime, and also about being embarrassed in front of all the fans, everybody booing him. But he probably knew it wasn't aimed at him personally, so he's able to come back to the bench, sit this one out, watch this. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna hear some things in the stands that you don't like to hear, but it's gonna make you a stronger person. And he applied himself in training, and he came back because that performance was fucking amazing, and his penalty was fucking great. His celebration, I went fucking nuts about it at home, and I was like just going crazy. To be honest, for me, I'm not even that bothered about the FA Cup. I'm not going to lie. I'm not that bothered if we win it or not. I don't really care about competitions this season. This team is so shit and we have such a long way to go. I'm not really bothered about cups and winning anything. I swear to God. I'm just bothered about watching this team performing to a certain level and seeing the coach's training sessions or seeing his work on display on match days. Because for the longest time under Erik ten Hag, even under Ole Solskjaer, it felt like we never saw what these guys were training at. We never saw what training was for. We just saw these guys like freestyling every time during match day, just doing what they wanted to do and figuring it out on the pitch. And it was awful to watch. Basketball, football, loads of goals conceded, just terrible defending, blame culture, scapegoats, like whatever, heroes, villains. I fucking hated it. Now we're a team. We're a unit. You know, everybody kind of fights for each other. The spaces are less. The defense is fucking rock solid. Harry Maguire is probably having the best season he's had at Man United in his entire fucking career thus far. You know, Martinez is playing out of his skin. What's his face? Even De Ligt, who I'm not the biggest fan of. I call De Ligt like the Dutch Phil Jones. I'm not the biggest fan of De Ligt, but he also is performing out of his skin recently. I'm loving to see it because it's showing that now we've been knocked out of all the competitions. We're not in Europe anymore. We're probably, we might not end up winning the FA Cup. I don't think so anyway. But with more time on the training ground, it's showing that Ruben Amorim is an elite coach, and I'm loving to see it. I'm loving to see it. The final thing I'll end with is the referee. I don't like to talk about referees too much. I think it's fucking boring, personally, the whole referee debate. But the referee was so bad this game. And bad in terms of like, not in terms of you favoured Arsenal, just because of the incorrect calls. Yes, most of the incorrect calls were against us. But the incorrect calls that he was making was like, they were for fouls that should be easy to call. There was one particular one that got me worried, and I knew I was going to have a tough game. Was the one where I think Mazwari was defending against, was defending against Lewis Skelly, I think on the right-hand side. And Mazwari got in front of Lewis Skelly to block the ball, and Lewis Skelly just he pushed him. And Mazwari hit the ball and he went out for corner. The referee didn't give the free kick. He gave the corner. So I'm like, that was a blatant push. It was easy to see. You don't need VAR for that. And you got that one wrong. That for me set a precedent. I knew, oh shit, we're going to be fucked if this referee carries on this type of way. And unfortunately he did. The penalty kick he gave away was crazy. I thought the Dalot decision was okay. I don't have a problem with it. Even though Dalot didn't touch his man, I feel like if you're in a yellow card, you can't slide basically. If you're in a yellow card and you slide, you have to get the ball. You have to really like scoop the ball or kick the ball in the opposite direction of where the player's running to or where you're sliding in from. You have to basically show, hey, I touched the ball. There's no doubt. But if you're in a yellow card, you can't slide. You can't slide. It's impossible. So Diego Dalot was fucking stupid, brain dead, and essentially he nearly cost us the game. But thankfully our players pulled through. But the rest of the decisions were horrendous. So fucking bad. And it's a shame really because we got one of the best leagues in the world. The FA Cup is one of the best competitions in world football, I think. Maybe only next to fucking Copa del Rey and stuff in terms of drama. But we have such bad officials. We have such terrible referees across the board. Really, really bad. And I wonder if a lot of our referees in this country are being made to look worse now because they're relying on VAR so much. So because the FA Cup doesn't have VAR, because in certain stadiums they won't, they'll be unable to implement VAR, so they don't do VAR in the early stages and only do it towards the latter stages when they're gonna have the games usually in like nicer stadiums with the facilities to kind of accommodate VAR, which makes sense, I guess. But I wonder if a lot of these referees, because they spent so long relying on VAR, they're now unable to referee the game with their eyes, which is quite concerning in itself, right? Because the technology is not that old. It's a fairly new technology that they're using. So them not being able to just referee the game normally is fucking pissing me off. And essentially we're in a situation where a lot of them without VAR don't know what the fuck they're doing. They can't see blatant pushes. They don't see blatant fouls. They don't see blatant dives. Like that fucking foul on Bruno Fernandes outside the box by Gabriel Jesus that led to him now being injured throughout the whole season, which is fucking hilarious in itself. That foul on Bruno Fernandes, although I think Bruno should have made more of an effort to stay on his feet, I think he was looking for that foul. Don't get me wrong, Bruno, which is not a crime. You can look for fouls. I think he knew Gabriel Jesus was coming behind him, and he really delayed his kick to wait for Jesus to hit him so he could get the free kick. I think he had a better chance. My personal opinion, I think Bruno had a better chance of scoring or hitting the target from open play than he had with the free kick. Because I can't think the last time he scored a free kick. It's been a long time. So that I don't like. But it's a foul. Gabriel Jesus comes behind him, knocks him over, doesn't touch the ball, knocks off his boot. It's a blatant foul. It's an easy decision to make. Referee doesn't give it. Brain dead. But regardless, we got the victory anyway. Doesn't matter. Brilliantly taken free kicks. We scored every single one of them. And I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed it very much. And as Amrin said, though, the most crucial game is against Southampton. Because we can easily get it out for the Liverpools and the Arsenals. That's not hard. You can play well against Man City. That's not hard. Anybody can do that. Those are the big games, televised games, a lot of pressure. You want to show out. But the game that's going to really matter and show where we're at, what level we're at, and if we're going in the right direction, if these players aren't jokes, is a Southampton game. This Southampton game tonight is going to be the real test. Have these players really woken up? Are they really ready for the challenge? Are we going to really see their real character? Or are they going to do what they usually do and play against, perform out their skin against the top teams, and then when it comes to the lower quote-unquote teams, turn up like they can just win with the badge and then get humbled? Because essentially we're playing against a rival, right? Southampton are thereabouts where we don't want to be. We don't want to get relegated. I wouldn't mind us get relegated because we get rid of the fucking Glazers, but we don't want to get relegated as a club. So we have to beat teams like this and kind of separate ourselves from that bottom half and try to slowly but surely creep up the league and maybe have a top 10 finish. Maybe, who knows? But regardless, great win at the FA Cup. Super, super happy and can't wait for the fourth round. Can't wait for the blood clot fourth round. Cool. Let's move on. Next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about Drake. Drake. My guy. So, it feels like this Drake Kendrick Lamar battle is never going to end. Even though the battle has ended, it's probably never going to end. They're going to always be sending shots at each other. And now because of this lawsuit, it's going to be dragging on forever and ever and ever. And the unfortunate thing about this is that optics-wise, this looks really bad for Drake. Although I know what he's doing, although I kind of get what he's doing, and I've read through the lawsuit, and I can see that he's basically arguing that UMG have a conflict of interest, right? They kind of favored... His argument is that UMG purposely favored Kendrick and put money behind him to promote Not Like Us and him during rap battle, and that hampered his leverage and negotiation tactics for his contract negotiation. Contract renewal. That's what he's basically saying. So they're both signed under the UMG. He's saying, hey, UMG wanted to put money more behind Kendrick, but they were doing that during my contract renegotiations. And I think that is what has led us to be an impasse and has now affected my negotiation power. That could be true. He could be 100% right, but unfortunately, the optics look terrible. The optics look like he's crying foul, he's being a Karen, and he's essentially snitching on streamers, snitching on Kendrick, and basically going to court to try and win this battle because his feelings were hurt. That's what it seems like. It seems like his feelings were hurt, and now he can't take it. He can't take the L, and he's now pointing the finger at Kendrick and saying, you did this, but he's doing it via UMG, so it doesn't look like he's doing it directly at Kendrick. Because I don't know, man. I don't want this to be the norm. I don't want rap battles to descend into like defamation lawsuits at the end. I want rap battles to not also descend into violence. I don't want people to die. I don't want people to get beat up or rushed. I want rap battles to be what rap battles are, to be competitive and to be artists and rappers at the top of their game, competing with their pen. Incredible wordplay, very brutal bars, incredible beats, moments, right? Like, just that's what it should be about. It should always be about that and kind of elevating, quote unquote, the art form. But when you start going to court and start filing lawsuits and shit for defamation, it kind of feels a bit stinky, I'm not going to lie. Even though I read the entire 100 pages plus of that lawsuit, I read it, the whole thing last night. I know what he's getting at. I know what he's doing. I kind of see it. The optics of it are still terrible. The optics are terrible, especially with the screenshot showing all the fucking the reactors and streamers and shit who reacted not like us, and basically insinuating that they were only like their reaction because of their big audience further kind of emphasize this thing that I'm a PDF. It's like, for one, I'm surprised that this PDF thing is such an issue. It's starting to make me think, is it really an issue though? Like, for real? Because if you're willing to sue somebody or go to this sort of lengths and you know the damage it could do to your reputation in the hip hop, it's making me think like, is it really an issue or are you trying to overcompensate? You know? Like, you're trying to go overboard to plead your innocence by going to sue, but it's also making me look at you like, what? So are you really a PDF then? Because this doesn't make any sense. Because it's not. I get it. It's a bad thing to say to somebody. No one wants to be called a PDF, especially if you're not a PDF. But surely you should just let that slide, innit? Especially if you're saying he's beating his wife, and we don't know if he is. We don't know if you are a PDF or not. Aren't those two? I know one thing is probably worse than the other. Probably PDF is worse than being a domestic abuser, but they're both pretty bad. You don't want to find out that Kendrick Lamar, with his quote unquote somewhat wholesome image, that he's a fucking domestic abuser. You would not like to hear that. No one would. But surely they're on the same level of like insults, same level of like rudeness, same level of aggression, really. Why can't you just let it be? He says you're PDF, you call him a woman abuser. I don't know, keep going. Give us more bars. Why do you have to sue now? You know, I don't really like that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that in the slightest. I don't like the direction we're going in. I would have preferred, I wish he would have put this energy into putting out more records. Even though ultimately I think he still would have lost. I felt like we got the best, not the best. We got that version. Like, Kendrick doesn't pop out, right? Kendrick doesn't pop out. He's very low. He's on this kind of Frank Ocean thing where it seems like he's not really in tune or doesn't really give a fuck about celebrity or being about like that. He drops what he wants to drop. But his fans love him. And music people love him anyway. So I think Drake engaging him with a beef is what got him to release these records. These records wouldn't have put out without the beef. GNX, I don't think doesn't come out without the beef. So Drake did a good thing by engaging Kendrick because we got Kendrick to come out. So I would have liked him to just continue because it would have brought out the best in Drake. I think Drake is rapping at a level now he's probably never rapped at before. I think he's at his, I won't say his peak, but he's really spitting because he knows everybody's dissecting every line he's saying. And that's only becoming because of his beef with Kendrick. So we'll just continue the beef. So I'm just disappointed that this energy wasn't put into releasing more records after Family Matters. I would like to have seen more direct records going at Kendrick, them to go back and forth, and we would have got the best out of it as fans. But this suing thing, although I know he's, as the headline says, he's suing his record label for defamation, it still does stink like he's suing Kendrick. That's what it smells like. Especially if you're saying defamation, because defamation only comes from the record. And the person that made the record was Kendrick. So it seems like you're suing Kendrick, even though you're not. And then involving all the content creators and the streamers and basically acting as if they were like paid opposition, as if they were like crisis actors or some shit. It's like, I don't know, man. This is a bit stinky. Anyway, let's read the article, courtesy of Sky News. Drake has sued Universal Music Group, UMG, for defamation over rival Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. The lawsuit alleges UMG was Drake 38 and Kendrick Lamar 37. Oh shit, I didn't know they were the same age. Shit, okay. I always thought Kendrick was a bit more younger than Drake. Okay. Are both signed to, published and promoted the track, even though it included false allegations the God's Plan rapper is a pedophile and suggested listeners should resort to vigilante justice. The really bad thing about this is like, it's almost as if Drake is calling for censorship. That's a really sad thing about this. It almost sounds like Drake is calling for censorship in rap. Like record labels should censor and should limit what certain rappers say. So on one side, you got people in hip hop saying, oh, the courts are going overboard by using what rappers say as like word and gospel and using their raps to put them in prison. And then the other side, when it's really free expression, I'm a storyteller. But then the other side, you've got a rapper, one of the biggest in the world, saying, hey, record label, you have to restrict what this guy's saying because he's saying mean things about me. He's calling me things that I'm not. Like, which one do you want? Do you want the courts to be heavy-handed and to go overboard and cross the line and start fucking interpreting lyrics as fiction? Or do you want rappers to have free expression? Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Because you can't have both. It is the latest development in a bitter feud between the two hip-hop's biggest stars who released a series of diss tracks last year, making personal remarks against each other. Lamar is not named in the lawsuit, which we filed in federal court in New York on Wednesday. He's named once because of the title of the track, obviously. But he's named once. Technically, he's named once. Seeking a trial and undisclosed amount of money for damages, the lawsuit alleges UMG unknowingly decided to publish, promote, and exploit monetized allegations they understood were not only false, but dangerous. It said the allegations directly resulted in Drake's security guard being shot outside his mansion last year and 2 attempted break-ins in the same month. Which, of course, isn't great. And that's a stand culture thing, right? I think the worst thing to come from this Drake and Kendrick battle has been Drake's lawsuit and also the stands on either side. Those have been the uncut, like, without any argument, those three are the worst things. Drake's lawsuit, the Kendrick stands, and the Drake stands. They made this battle unbearable, even to enjoy as a fan, how hard they're going for each person. But if we're being fair, does he have a point that if you're signed to the same record label, your record label pushing the other person more than you in this battle while you're doing a contract negotiation, is that a little bit of a conflict of interest? Is that a little bit weird, underhand? Yeah, probably. But if I'm UMG, I also understand why they're doing it, because let's imagine record labels are what they say they are, right? Let's imagine record labels are exactly how they are exactly just how people who they say they are, in that they are culture vultures, they are exploiters, they're evil, they're conniving, all that sort of stuff, right? It's true. 360 Records, how they fuck over people with their masters and their licenses. I think that's all that stuff is true. I think it applies across the board. I don't think they only fuck over people when you first sign up and you're a SoundCloud artist and you get like a $1 million fucking signing bonus, but they don't tell you that it's a loan and it has this amount of interest and you have 25 albums to turn in before you can get a contract. They don't tell you that sort of stuff. But I think that applies across the board. I think record labels try and fuck you at every stage of your career. It never stops. They're always trying to fuck you. So it wouldn't surprise me if UMG, although Drake is the biggest guy in the world and breaks all the records, all this sort of stuff, they don't want to give him the money. Allegedly, they made him. Allegedly, how long was it? The contract? Allegedly, that deal was signed when? When was that deal signed? Allegedly, he signed Drake a $400 million record deal with UMG. When was this? What year was this? Was it 2021? Let me see here. Yeah, allegedly, he signed a $400 million record deal with UMG in 2022. So most likely, that record deal might have been 2 years, 3 years, whatever. He's trying to renegotiate that deal because his numbers are exponential. But likely, UMG doesn't want to pay him. Even though he's worth the money, they don't want to pay him the money. I'm sure if Michael Jackson was still around now and he was breaking records, record labels will still go out of their way to fuck him, as they did when he was around anyway. That's what record labels do. So they're always within their self-interest of trying to protect themselves, trying to make sure they maximize their profits without having to expense too much, without having to spend too much on contracts. So if they can fuck you, they will. So I'm not surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if UMG did put a little bit more money, put a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more effort, hire a few more people to kind of put more money behind Kendrick's records and shit. Even though they were all popping, it wouldn't surprise me because, in a way, if they diminish Drake's star, if they take away some of his pulling power, if they make him look quote-unquote human, if they make him look ordinary, it might hamper his streams and stuff in the long term. Maybe. That's the truth. Okay, cool. But that's the game. That's what you get when you engage in rap battles. That's why you have to always, especially nowadays with streaming, you probably have to weigh up whether or not engaging in a rap battle is probably advantageous for you or not. For all people, probably it's not the best idea to do. Maybe leaving people alone and just doing what you do is probably the best thing to do. Most people shouldn't engage rap battles because it could eventually hamper or harm your earning potential and reputation long term. That's a risk you take. But the risk is also met by a lot of reward. Because if you're successful, it can also change how people look at you, your perception, how you're perceived, everything about you could completely change. Your earning power could also change. So the risk reward thing is obviously there. There's a lot of pros and cons, but most of the time the pros outweigh the cons. It's just really annoying that this is happening now in this way, because whatever way you paint it, this looks like Drake is suing Kendrick. Doesn't matter what it says on the legal document. Like I said, I've read over 100 pages of this fucking shit. Doesn't matter what it says. It's always going to sound like he's suing Kendrick. And in hip-hop, and that's just not hip-hop, innit? It's just not hip-hop. It just isn't hip-hop. No one does that in battles. You take your L's, regardless of the person's lying or not. If the person's lying, you invent better lies. And you make that shit rhyme better. Simple as that. If that person's exaggerating, you invent better exaggerations. And you get a better beat. And you fucking slide all over that shit. And you deliver it well. That's all you do. You don't start fucking crying and complaining on the internet. You don't start fucking, talking about lawsuits and shit. Like, that's just lame, man. It's really disappointing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed, my guy. The rapper, who is the world's most streamed hip-hop artist, also claimed the track led to an online hate and harassment and hit to his reputation, a decrease of his brand value before his contract negotiation with the record label this year. The suit added that UMG understood the recording and the inflammatory and shocking allegations were a goldmine, so did nothing to change it or to stop it from being published. Yo, this guy, he really sounds like a Karen. I'm not gonna lie, man. He really sounds like a Karen. Drake, why? It was also reiterated claims made in a legal petition filed by Drake's firm, Frozen Moments LLC, that UMG and Spotify artificially boosted Not Like Us, including by using bots and pay-per-play agreements. In a statement to Sky News at the time, UMG strongly denied allegations, with spokesperson calling them offensive and untrue. UMG also refutes the latest claims, saying in a statement on Wednesday, not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that he would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. No, it's not illogical. Don't insult our intelligence, UMG, as well. It's not illogical. It does make sense. UMG don't want to pay him another 400 mil. That is what we can say. He's been bragging about it in records, saying he needs another 400, he needs 500. UMG don't want to pay anybody. Record labels don't want to pay anyone. They pay you begrudgingly, right? They don't want to pay. If they could get away with not paying you zero, they'd pay you fucking zero. But nowadays, because of everybody's attention with record labels, they want to seem a little bit more. It's why I even felt like that record deal that Liang Ball got, G3, big up him with his song Tweaker. I feel like that mention of like, oh, he also gets to retain his masters. I think record labels understand all the bad press they have, so they don't want to appear predatory. So they put out these press releases. Oh, we gave him 13 mil. He got his own record label. He's got his own masters. But really and truly, only the masters means nothing if they're gonna have all the fucking back end and get all the royalties and shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be fair. But anyway, UMG do have an advantage by besmirching Drake and making him look less than, because it benefits them in their contract negotiations with him. That's just obvious. We all know that. The interesting thing I think about this whole battle has been this. I think the interesting thing to see has been fans on either side being okay with botted views. I think everybody understands it's part of the game now. That's the interesting thing to see. I've been observing. I've not really seen a lot of people complaining. The rational people that I've seen online have been saying that Drake should have paid for more bots for Family Matters. Like, that's what people are saying, I feel like, online, which I think is quite interesting. It seems that everybody's kind of realized that nowadays, with how the algorithm is and with how feeds are, you have to pay for views. You have to do what you have to do to get your song seen by people. Because sometimes your song is good, but because you put it out organically, no one sees it. Because most feeds out there don't push organic stuff. Right? So you have to kind of put a little bit of money in your thing to kind of boost it. And I think the bigger you are, the less likely people will tell if you boosted anything. Because if you got 1 billion views, but you bought a million plays, no one will ever can tell, because you fucking got 1 billion fucking plays. So I think it's more of an advantage for people at the top level. So I'm looking at all artists at the top. Even the people that I like the Bad Bunnies and shit, the Weekends, I think they all pay for views. They all pay for plays. Because at that level, no one can tell. And it does help a little bit, because it gets you to people who probably maybe aren't really checking for your shit, but know your name. So they're aware that, oh, you have a new album drop at the end of the month. You have a new record out that's a tribute to Puerto Rico. All this sort of stuff comes out there. So that's been interesting to witness in this whole debate. I've not seen either stands on either side really care about the botted views thing too much. So I think that Drake point is kind of moot. I think he should have just paid for more bots himself. And also it kind of, it you're kind of taking away from the moment because we're not like us playing for the first time. Let's not lie. Like when you heard that beat for the first time and you heard Kendrick saying what he's saying, that shit's a bop. You can't fake that. You can't fake that reaction to hearing Not Like Us for the first time. You cannot fake that fucking, you know, you can't fucking fake it. It's impossible. So this whole thing about like the bots trying to make it seem like it's a fake hit, come on, bro. Come on. It added, throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG to distribute his music and poetry to engage in conventional, outrageous back and forth rap battles to express his feelings about other artists. He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG for distributing the artist's music. Which is true. Lamar's track Not Like Us was streamed 900 million times after its release on May 4th. It's nominated for 5 Grammys, including a Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Yeah, and it'll probably win one, but I don't know, man. I think this whole thing is really lame. It's really, really sad to see how this has kind of ended up. I don't like where it went. I don't know. I just wished better. I hope for better. I didn't think my guy Drake would do such a thing. The optics are horrible. And the funny thing about this too is this. The funny thing about this is that the thing that I was hoping Drake was gonna do, he didn't do. So that lawsuit, allegedly, from what I've been able to read online, that lawsuit that he dropped, or that petition that he dropped, that was an interesting one. That was the one about UMG essentially using, and Spotify using bots and all this malarkey to push the record, right? And basically using nefarious tactics to kind of get him out of the game. That was an interesting lawsuit. But now he's going directly at UMG for the record, Not Like Us, and not Spotify. So the whole Spotify UMG thing, they actually would have helped artists, that actually would have been interested to follow and see how it developed, has now been put to one side. And now it seems like he's doing what all artists do. I think Drake, Kanye did it, Taylor Swift did it, where they kind of put out this image like they want to save the industry, like they're here for the people, they're here for unrepresented artists, underground artists, but really and truly, they're here to serve their own self-interest. Drake doesn't give a fuck about artists coming up. He just wants to get the bag. And I understand, because at that level, the difference between 400 million and 500 million is a lot. It's a lot of millions that you're missing out on. You're missing out on 100 million. That's a lot of money. So you're not going to leave that on the table if you can get it. And if you can get it by crying victim and doing the whole Karen thing, I get it. But it's just really, disingenuous how they try and act like they're trying to save the industry. They're trying to fucking, rewrite the rules. They're trying to fucking, reorganize everything and put all the favors back into the artist's favor, when really they're only doing what they're doing to favor themselves, to line their own pockets. They don't give a fuck about artists. Clearly don't, which is okay, because you're an artist yourself. You have to look after number one. But this whole idea that they're trying to fight against the system, when really they're just upset now the system isn't working in their favor, is really disheartening. I'm not gonna lie, because I would have liked to have seen how that battle would have ended. Because I think you would have seen. I think the Spotify thing would have been a real clear example of Spotify definitely pushing Kendrick, because people were saying it. People were saying and showing recordings of themselves being on their computer. They're listening to fucking jazz. And then they got the fucking auto shuffle thing going on their Spotify thing. And the next track they play is Kendrick Not Like Us. Bare people were saying it. So clearly Spotify were fiddling or, doing some shit on their back end to make it that people that were listening to songs, regardless of what genre you're into, were getting fed Kendrick Not Like Us. That clearly is market manipulation. That isn't cool. Do you know what I mean? You can sue them for that sort of shit. And maybe with suing them for that shit, you can open up doors for other things and find out all this other shit that's going on. But he dropped that. And now he's going after Kendrick for or UMG for Not Like Us for defamation. I don't like it, man. I don't like it, but we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it all kind of shakes out. But me personally, I don't like it. As a Drake fan, I think it's fucking lame. I am misunderstanding this. But like I said, I read the entire fucking lawsuit itself the other day. And from what I can surmise, it does feel like he's using the record to sort of like hide not suing Kendrick, but he kind of is. And it also seems like he's trying to silence people and restrict their creative expression by saying that the record hurt his reputation. Of course it did, duh. That's what a rap battle is. A rap battle can potentially hurt your reputation and hurt how you're ever perceived forever. Look at J. Cole. J. Cole didn't engage in a rap battle, quit, and now his reputation has been severely damaged since then. What's J. Cole going to do? Is J. Cole going to sue the blogs for reporting that he waved the white flag during a rap battle? That's what happens. Whatever you do, whatever you say, however the person attacks you can have the potential to ruin your reputation. That's the risk that you run. But if you win, If you win, you're going to be seen as a hero forever. You'll be seen as a champion forever. It's high risk, high reward. It's just the way it is. And for some reason, Drake wants to sue now. I don't get it personally, but I guess it is what it is. I guess it is what it is. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about TikTok. Let's talk a little bit about TikTok. Will TikTok be banned? Will TikTok or TikTok, I say TikTok, will TikTok be banned? What we know about the decision, user impact, and interested buyers. So let's read the article here, courtesy of USA Today. TikTok will soon go dark for over 170 million American users. Jesus Christ, bro. A lot of people out there love social media, innit? Barring an 11th-hour development. TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, has until Sunday to sell the platform under federal legislation signed into law by President Joe Biden last spring. The Beijing-based company fails to do so. TikTok will be banned in the US, making it illegal for your internet hosting services and app stores to distribute the platform. The legalization comes amid concerns by some government officials who believe the platform is a national security threat, as ByteDance could be sharing US users' data with Chinese government. It's hilarious. But the funny thing is, I think they said even if you download it, even if you have it pre-downloaded on your phone, and it's still not gonna work. So RIP TikTok in the US. But everybody's now on this other app called Rednote, I think it's called Rednote. Everyone jumps on there. So let's just continue here. The Supreme Court heard an oral agreement pause last week from TikTok, which claims the ban is an unconstitutional breach of Americans' First Amendment right. The platform asked the Supreme Court to put a halt to the ban as of Thursday morning. The SCO had not released a decision. President-elect Donald Trump will be sworn into office on Monday, the 20th of January. Actually, I might stream that. Actually, the inauguration might be a good thing to stream. The day after the ban is to be set in place. Though he provisionally supported the ban on the platform, Trump asked last month to put a hold to the deadline to give his incoming administration the opportunity to pursue a political resolution of the question at the issue of it. The Washington Post reported on Wednesday that Trump is considering an executive order that would halt the ban for 60 to 90 days, and US Today is looking into the report. Following last week's Supreme Court hearing, it appears TikTok will be preparing to shut down. If Supreme upholds the executive legislation, ByteDance will have until Sunday to divest an American asset. During last week's hearing, Justice Samuel Alito asked if the court could be temporarily block the law of administratively halt the law temporarily. U.S. Solicitor General Elizabeth Preligor, defending the ban for the Biden administration, advised against a temporary block unless TikTok was likely to win based on the First Amendment claim of the right to distribute its content. As for the administrative halt, Preligor said that they would defer to the justices on whether they would have enough time to decide on the case. And then the other update on this is this regarding Elon Musk maybe potentially going to buy TikTok to prevent the ban, especially the US operation. So it's courtesy of Sky News. TikTok has described the report they could sell to US businessman Elon Musk as pure fiction. The short video platform owners ByteDance are facing prospect of TikTok being shut down permanently in America on Sunday. That's when the US government ban is going to come to effect. But Bloomberg News reported that officials in Beijing, where TikTok is parent firm based, were considering whether to allow possible sale of the billionaire owner X if the order would not be overturned. The authorities in China were said to prefer the TikTok US business remained under ByteDance control. They have always denied having an influence over ByteDance, let alone TikTok, a position that both entities have supported. The US Supreme Court has indicated that it minded and accept the Biden administration. Head of the start of the second term. TikTok are saying that they're not going to sell it to Elon, but Elon is saying that he wants to buy it. And I think I've also seen the report that says Mr. Beast also wants to buy TikTok. So let's see how it plays out. It'll be a shame though, because I think we get a lot of great content from American users on TikTok. They're a little bit more loosey-goosey, a little bit more crazy on that platform. And also, I don't think that content can exist anywhere else. I don't think TikTok content from American users can exist on Twitter or Instagram. I think there's a specific thing about TikTok that brings out a specific side of certain people and just attracts certain freaks. Simple as that. Certain freaks will only go on TikTok, so we need them. We need the app. So hopefully it stays around. Hopefully this isn't the end. And let's see how it plays out. Let's see how this whole thing plays out. I'm eager to see if somebody comes at 11th hour to buy it. Maybe it's Steve will do it. Maybe it's fucking Mr. Beast. Who knows gonna buy it? Who knows? Maybe it's Andrew Tate. You never fucking know. You never freaking know. Continue. This post courtesy of a account called A View from the Bridge. They do these really cool things where, like, essentially it's like a hot take thing So similar to that guy in New York that has he interviewed, says, yeah, what's your hot take? In this particular one, they film you from afar, from a bridge somewhere, and they give you a phone, and you basically say your hot take over the phone. And this particular one features Elijah, who's been going quite viral recently for his whole push around, pushing DJs and the benefits of club culture and how everyone needs to be a DJ and the importance of, maintaining some of these clubs and blah, 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 blah. So he had a very interesting hot take about raves not needing cameras, raves without cameras. Basically, do raves need to be spaces without cameras? He makes some really interesting points here, and then obviously I'm going to give you my point of view on the other side of it. He does make some interesting points, but let's hear what Elijah has to say about the prevalence of raves with cameras.
Bro, people are always complaining about people not dancing in parties while there's like 4K cameras, analog cameras.
You know what's really weird, interesting about this? Maybe it's the beat, or maybe it's the way he looks. Doesn't he kind of sound like President T? Kilo Kali. Word on road. No, he kind of sounds a little bit like President T when he's speaking. Maybe it's just me, but he sounds a bit like President T.
Ones from the ceiling coming down, drones and all sorts. Like, you can't relax, man. It feels like you're being like surveillance. And even everyone individually is pulling out phones. And I feel like us as an audience, ravers, people that go to concerts, people that are just out watching football, man, the moment of pulling out the phone and recording someone just vibing needs to stop, man. Allow people, man. Don't ever post someone without their consent, man. I feel like this is like one of the biggest disrespects in culture now, man. You know what? Everyone having their phones out in a room, it doesn't just take you out of the room there and then. It makes people like on edge in a way that I just never like really experienced before, you know what I'm saying? It feels like you're under CCTV, like 1,000 CCTVs at once. Like, why would you wanna break form? Why would you wanna dance in a crazy way? Why would you wanna go and talk to that person? You don't wanna like be rejected. You don't wanna be put online the next day. So it changes people's behavior, man. It changes the way people dress, bro. People don't think about all these people that wanna go to raves, but it's £30 and then they gotta have drip and then they gotta get this and this, that, another thing. And then at the same time, you have to look cool, stand in a certain way, look a certain way, have your hair cut. No, this is mad, bro. And I don't like it. As much as I think documenting is popular, I also think we need spaces and time and place for things to be undocumented and people just live in the moment. I guess the culture going forward needs to have some sort of balance between cameras everywhere, recordings everywhere, pictures everywhere, and nothing. We need spaces without the camera.
Yeah, like he makes a lot of good points. He really does make a lot of good points, but let's be real. Let's be real. This isn't going to ever change. The horses have already been bolted. There's no way you can ever rewind this. There's no way you can ever go back to an era where cameras are not prevalent in certain places. And also, just from a purely promoter side of view things, I understand why the cameras and all that sort of stuff become prevalent, because you need to be able to sell your product to people. You need to be able to make that, make it an appealing place for people to go to and to sell your tickets. And with the level of competition that exists nowadays, from January to December, it seems like there is no festival season. The festival season is just every year. Every single year, new festivals are popping up all around the world with incredible lineups, with great programming. Nowadays, probably, if you're smart, you can probably figure out a way to like program your rave via chat GPT and shit. You probably don't even need to like be clocked in with who's coming up and who's not coming up. But nowadays, you can probably find a lot of the new artists way easier than you did before. All the hyped ones are way easier to find now than ever before. So the prevalence of like really good festivals and raves and shit is crazy. There's too many options, probably too many for people to ever go to, myself included. I deem myself to be like a techno tourist, and even I can't go to everything that I want to go to. Sometimes money is low, sometimes it's just too much to go to and you can't physically go to every event. So the ones that are trying to push themselves online, I understand why they're using pictures and videos to do so, because you want to rope people in, you want to attract fans, you want to attract artists, you want to attract sponsors. It makes complete sense. So nowadays, I don't think that's ever going to go back. And I think for the people that go, being able to go somewhere like that and have a cool outfit on, and be able to have it documented, be able to share those pictures and be able to share on your feed that you do way more than just take selfies of yourself, and that you actually go to cool places and you have cool hobbies and cool interests, is also something that people are fond of. Me personally, I'm not. I don't really post anything about my raving and where I I don't post anything of me actually at the raves. I talk about it after the fact, but I'm also not the conventional person that goes out. Most people go out in the hopes of documenting something, in the hopes of getting an image, getting a clip, whether it's a sound clip they're going to share on their profile, whether it's something that they're going to put on their timeline, whether it's something that they're going to put on their fucking story. They want some evidence of it. They, for them, it doesn't exist. It didn't happen if there's no pictures to share. And I'm not like that, but most people are like that. So you're never ever going to get people not having that point of view or not being like that. So I think we just have to deal with the situation as is. I'm a big believer in dealing with the world as is in terms of helping it to be a world, in the figment of your imagination. So I think the only way to go forward for this sort of thing is to have certain places where those sort of things aren't allowed, and if it to be a strict thing across the board. Personally, that's what I think you should do. For instance, Fold's a good example. Fold, although they have a no photo policy, they still sometimes post pictures on their platform of the club in the inside. I think that kind of sends a wrong message, personally. And I think it's kind of hard to say you can't take pictures in a club when you yourself take pictures in a club. I think a lot of people do that. I think even Adonis do that, right? I think Adonis do that, where we have our own photographer who's going to take pictures, but you can't take pictures. That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, I get it because you want to only put out a certain type of like quality of picture out there. Maybe you want to make sure that everyone that's taking the pictures of somebody is asking consent, because the photographer has to probably do that. But I think if you're going to have the no photo policy, no video policy, have it applied across the board, and then have the club, have the experience, have the ambiance, have the vibes be sold and promoted by word of mouth from people online, event reviews, clips on fucking YouTube of me reviewing or other people reviewing it, like that sort of thing. That's the way to go. But I think people are scared of doing that because it's obviously you're cutting out a huge chunk of people. You're missing out on it. But I never understood that clubs that do that. So I think the clubs that are really strict about the no photo policy, like the Burr guys and stuff, they need to be championed, and they also need to be promoted. They need to be championed, and that sort of approach doesn't need to be questioned. I feel like I heard way more people nowadays going out of their way to kind of really be upset about Burr guys' no photo policy and shit, and basically kick up a fuss about it. But I think we need to make sure that the scene has like a range, has options. So if you want to go somewhere where it's kind of lit up and produced and designed in a way that promotes people to share online, like for instance, they've got certain images or they've got certain LED displays on stage that are shaped in a particular portrait fashion or in a square fashion that actually allows you to share it on social media easier. There's LEDs that shine at particular locations to make sure that everything that you shoot is brightly lit. Cool, go there and do that. But if you want to go somewhere where that's not the case and some of those sort of senses, some of those sort of actions are taken away from you, go there also. But I feel like applying the rules of like underground raves or places that don't have photo policies to places that are a bit more commercial are unfair. My example being that girl that went viral. That girl that went viral recently at the show, at the kind of music show, right? I think I've showed you guys recently before. What's his name? I think is it Mr. After Party? Mr. After Party, innit? Where is it? Is that here? Mr. After Party. Mr. After. There we go. Mr. After Party. So this one. So do you remember that video that went viral at the Mr. After Party rave? Oh no, it's the kind of music rave featuring Anmi, right? Was it Anmi? Or is it? Yeah, I think it's Anmi. The video featuring Anmi. I don't have a problem with this personally because I think this is very specific to people that go to like kind of music Anmi events. So, in my opinion, I think this sort of thing should be able to exist. And then the places with no photos should also be able to exist. So me personally, I have no issue with this because I feel like this is very specific to that particular crowd or people that like ambient house, that like tech house, that like melodic house, deep house, that particular brand of house music in Ibiza, Miami, Greece, wherever they are, that is specific to what they do. Phones everywhere, lights everywhere, everybody on stage, the stage is a VIP room, hot girls, hot guys, cool, enjoy yourself. But I think guys who go to places that don't have photo policies and are strict about that sort of stuff, getting angry at this and applying their standards, their preferences to places like this is unfair. In the same way that people that go to these sort of raves expecting to go to Burr and record their whole experience from the door to the dance floor is also a bit dumb and a little bit unfair. I think everything should be able to coexist. You should be able to go to a club if you want to and take a selfie with a DJ, go. If you want to go somewhere where it's all about the music and you can't step 2 feet within the DJ booth, you could also go to that location. I think it's perfectly fine. We need options. We need range. Unfortunately, nowadays, especially in the UK, I think I saw recently Drumshed's got a license to reopen. The problem is there's more of a push for these type of locations. There doesn't seem to be a push for places where they kind of, focus more on the music, they focus more on the sound, they focus more on the community, blah, 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 blah. It's mostly this kind of commercial, whatever aspect of culture, of the dance music scene or whatever it is. I just want it to be options. I want it to be options. I don't want it to all be one thing. I don't want all the festivals, all the raves to appear one way. There needs to be different options they can go to. And the fans, the customers can choose what they want. But this idea that we're going to go to a place where cameras aren't going to be a thing anymore in clubs and we need to kind of, stop that across the board ain't going to happen. We have spaces, we have clubs already that do that. We have promoters who are very strict on a no photo policy thing. We have clubs that do the no photo policy thing. Go there if you want that sort of thing. But other places, that ain't going to happen. It just isn't going to happen because of the way music is at the moment, the way spaces are at the moment, the way promoters have to sell their parties, get sponsors, whatever, all this sort of stuff. It just isn't likely. I don't expect anytime soon for Space Miami to ever implement a no photo policy thing. It just doesn't work for what they do. Part of the law, or even Pasha, all these places, part of the law of those places is because of those videos that you saw online. I remember back in the day when I was first getting into the scene, I'd go on YouTube and I'd be searching for like Ricardo Villalobos, Sven Var, Jamie Jones or Jamie XX, Seth Troxler. I'd be searching for videos on them. I'd basically go on RA, I'd check where they played, and I'll go on YouTube, write the name of where they played, and sort by recently added. And you see all these videos from people uploading. Oh, I need a tune ID. Here's the vibe. Here's the whatever. Even at festival, Sunwaves in Romania. The whole reason why I think Sunwaves has become like an institution and a real legacy place to kind of go to. Number one, because they book a lot of great artists and great DJs, but also because of those videos. We see those fucking videos of people underneath that fucking amazing orange and red tent, and we kind of get pulled by it and we want to go. Same thing happens to that festival Kappa Futures or whatever it's called, somewhere in Italy. That whole thing as well has been pushed mainly because of the videos and pictures that we've seen. Other things, not so much. But I think those type of places, it's almost impossible to say that, oh, no photos needed in those type of places, because the photos and the videos kind of add to their legend. They add to the ambience. They add to the fucking vibes. They add to everything that's going on in the whole experience. So we used to have places where there are no videos and cameras, and places where you can enjoy that sort of thing and you go, but don't expect either place to sort of add or intrude the rules of other places. It doesn't make any sort of sense, in my personal opinion. But again, I could be wrong. And the reason why I say that is because in some raves, you end up with these really cool pictures. Look at this. This is courtesy of the subreddit called Aves, obviously raves, short. And it says the following: German rave last weekend. So somebody took pictures. I'm not sure if this is the user who's called Kaiser15 or Kaiser15. But regardless, these pictures are really cool. And these pictures could have been, if you look at the pictures and the quality of them, they could have been taken in the early 90s, the early 2000s, I would have believed you. Or they could be pictures taken on a really good camera nowadays. Like, these look really fucking cool. So sometimes, yes, the whole no photo policy thing can be annoying, but on some occasions, it can produce some really cool pictures that people are getting here from clubs and spaces. And I think nowadays anyway, more so than ever, because of the prevalence of places where you can have nice pictures taken of you in clubs, people are now having to be a little bit more creative about how they take pictures at certain raves. You can't just take standard shitty ones. They have to be of a certain quality, of a certain level. You're seeing so many different kind of really cool content creators who are going above and beyond and creating these really cool moments with these pictures that they're taking, as opposed to just taking a regular flash things. So you do, I think, get like an increased quality in the pictures that you're seeing that in raves, because everybody's competing for the same sort of eyes, the same sort of likes and shit going forward. Like, that picture's really fucking cool. This girl looks fucking amazing in this picture. I'm sure she's probably shared this on her fucking social media. Do you know what I mean? You get these kind of cool moments because people are now taking really, really fun videos and pictures when they're at these flipping raves. And I don't think you would have got this other than that if there wasn't such competition with the raves themselves. There's a few more pictures here courtesy of this user on that raves subreddit here that I'm going to show you. When they come up, this couple kissing, which is a really nice picture. Even the quality, the grain, the kind of, the out of focus effect that's going on there with the lens, I'm a really big fan of. Here's another picture also featuring some ravers in an embrace in black and white that looks really fucking nice. Another picture also coming up here of somebody looking at their phone in a rave while they're having a bit of a smoke. I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad at it. I love it all. I love it all. I love it all. Would I prefer to obviously be in a club where there's no cameras and everyone's just enjoying themselves? Of course. Because as I've been going to Berghain for like 10 plus years, I can definitely say that the experience that you have going to a place like that or going to any club literally in Berlin is way better than you get to go in most places around the world, because that you forget how much that matters. And I guess not even like the photo thing, more so the picking and choosing of who comes into your club. I think that really affects the mood inside, because people feel honored, they feel privileged to go in there, which is a bit lame and a bit weird because you're paying your hard-earned money to go into a club. But that's the truth. People do feel privileged, they do feel honored, they do feel selected, chosen to go in. So they're usually on their best behavior. They don't want to get kicked out because they had to go through so much to get in now. They also don't want to get kicked out. They want to make the most of it. And they want to contribute also to the collective vibe. So they're on their best behavior and they're just having the bestest time. They bring their best self forward. Doesn't mean the people that didn't get in aren't good, but the people that do get in are going there with the best intentions. So that obviously adds to the environment. And obviously the lack of pictures, the lack of flashes everywhere. Like even nowadays, like it's become a point of contention on the Berghain community subreddit, or people getting annoyed with people using their phone on the dance floor. So Berghain are strict with the entry policy. They're strict with the phones. They apply the sticker on your phone. I know in Fold they don't do that. When I've been to Fold sometimes, they just hand a sheet and tell you to pass it down the line and you put the sticker yourself. But in Berghain, they physically put the sticker on your phone for you. So they're very strict about that. But they are now complaining people that there's too many people on the dance floor on their phones. So in most clubs, all you see are people on the dance floor on their phones. So that's become a big thing. So I love that they're constantly trying to push out that need to always be on your phone and favor people being in the moment, because that club, you can't really, although that person did that really cool, reenactment or whatever of the club on the inside via Minecraft, you can't really describe it. I could give you as many reviews as I want. I could describe it to you in exhaustive detail, but you can never describe the experience of being in those places unless you're in it. Like even places like Paloma Bar. Paloma, it's not the greatest club in the world, but the fact that I went there for the first time a few years ago and I experienced it all, without taking pictures or videos, has held a special place in my heart. Now you look at the club outside, from the outside, it doesn't look that special. You might go there and not think it's that special, but the experience of going there, not having to be able to record anything that's going on there and just experience it yourself as you're in there, kind of gives it a little special place in your heart, and you remember it as a different way. And the experience, I think, is far more fruitful than other experiences that you'll probably be in. Because I can definitely say, hand on heart, the places I've gone to where I've recorded the entire sets of places, I don't think I've rewatched the video again. I might have uploaded it on YouTube, I might have shared it on social media, but I don't think I myself have sat down and rewatched the video that I've recorded in a club. I don't think I've ever done that. And I think most people can, if they're honest, can be the same. So that whole idea about documenting things anyway, who you're documenting it for, how many pictures do you need to take really at the club and the festival when you go to. But I still think those places still need to exist. You still need to have a Space Miami and you need to have a Berghain and a Fold. Those things need to exist. There needs to be a somewhat a level of harmony that needs to be applied to sort of situations. But wanting it to return to a place where no one has cameras anymore and there's no more phones is not logical. It doesn't make any sense. That's not going to happen. We are never going to return to a place where there's no cameras and no phones. I think the people who are not dancing also in clubs, they just don't want to dance. Simple as that. I don't think no one's not dancing in a club because they're afraid they're going to get papped or they're afraid they're going to get put on social and they're going to go viral. They just don't want to dance. If you don't want to dance, you don't want to dance. But this idea that you're not dancing because you don't want to get papped is stupid. I think most people, when they're going dressed up also, they're not dressing up in a certain way because they are going to get photographed. I think if anything, most people are going to raves kind of peacocking anyway. They're essentially walking attention seekers. They want people to look at them. They don't want people to turn away. They want you to give them compliments. They want you to say nice things about what they're wearing. So, I don't know. I understand what Elijah's saying. I get where he's coming from, but I think this is mostly one of those like chin stroker opinions, purist opinions that I don't think apply to the real world. I think most people aren't going to give up their phones for the betterment of a rave. But I think if you implement it and you put it as a rule in certain clubs, some people that do like that sort of thing, like I do, and many others, are going to flock to those sort of clubs because they know that they can go somewhere where they're going to have an experience that isn't just about the photos and shit. I'm sure that's going to be the case. So as much as I appreciate Elijah's points of view, I think unfortunately the horse has bolted. You cannot close the barn door anymore now. It's too fucking late. The horses are fucking gone, and we just have to kind of, you know, use what we have the way we have it and go to the places that we want to, that are going to serve our needs, and the ones that don't, they don't, and keep it moving, really. That's basically it. But who knows? I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. Next post is this, regarding another post I saw on the Aves subreddit. The title of it says, "This dude is wandering through the crowd and shows up near you at a rave. What are you doing?" I'm confused by this post because I don't really see what this guy's doing wrong, apart from dancing in a really goofy way. But let's play the video. I'm going to mute the music now in case I get copyright strike. Let's mute the music here. He's dancing, he's shuffling, you know, he's doing his thing, right? In his bedroom somewhere. I'm sure the neighbors downstairs don't appreciate it. But I'm kind of confused why these sort of posts, I'm seeing more of them on social. It's like, don't you want people to dance at raves? Like, isn't the goofier the dance, the better the experience for you, the person watching, who is not dancing? And aren't raves meant for dancing anyway? Like, or maybe he's taking up too much space. I don't know, move somewhere else, innit? I remember back in the day, there was always a section in raves where you could dance freely. I forgot where it was. Maybe it was around the sides. Maybe it was around the back towards the sides. There'd always be a section where all the dancers will be dancing. You know, they'll be dancing to the fucking breakdowns. They'll be dancing to the beat drop. They'll be just doing their thing and showing off. That'd always be the section. But nowadays, maybe not so much. You know? Maybe there's too much techno stomping. There's too much techno Viking stomping from right to left. People aren't really like dancing. Everyone's just kind of shuffling from right to left, or doing that really cringy TikTok techno dance that everyone fucking does, that kind of Euro dance, shuffling of the shoulders on the inside, shuffling left to right and shit, right? It's a very Mundele type of white people type of a dance type of thing. It almost felt like performative. It almost felt like something that you would learn if you went to uni to dance. Like, it's almost one of those type of things. It isn't very intuitive. It doesn't feel very organic or very real, very rooted in any type of rhythm or beat. It kind of always feels like you're doing 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, beating the fucking, counting the fucking beats in your head. But I don't personally mind this. Honestly, I don't mind this. I way prefer to see a whole, crowd of people dancing, or somebody in the middle dancing and everyone looks around them, as opposed to people just standing there looking dead on and not even bopping their heads, even singing. That's something I recognized when I went to fucking the Marias. We went to watch the Marias perform live at the Roundhouse. That was something that was very disturbing. Towards the back, where I thought there was more of the older folks, people, let's say in my generation, you saw way more people who were singing along to the records and going crazy and dancing like I was, right? But I feel like to the front, if you looked ahead, you see a lot of people who were kind of staring dead on the Marias, and just looking at them as they're performing, not singing in the slightest, which I thought was really strange. Like, why wouldn't you want to sing along to the Marias? They make some amazing music. They have, it's an amazing band. They have an amazing lead singer, an amazing vocalist, the Bops, right? It's really a vibey kind of a group. But for the most part, all the young people that I saw at the front were just like staring and looking. And again, that's just their way of appreciating the music. Don't get me wrong. To be standing there shuffling and going crazy for a Maria song is maybe a little bit excessive. But, come on, man. Dance. Have a good time. People don't really do that nowadays anymore, which is a shame, to be honest. I would have preferred to see more of that nowadays, but that's not the thing. I don't know why that's the case and why people are commenting and saying, what would you do if this guy walked past you? I don't see a problem with what he's doing. But I guess some people, I don't know, don't like fun. They just don't like fun. Really confusing, really sad. But I guess it is what it is. Talking about sad news. Sad news in this regard because of sentence and the crime. But Jesus Christ, man. Courtesy of the Hackney Gazette. Drill rapper KO and 3 others convicted of murder. So, as I'm sure some of you know, this kid unfortunately passed away maybe a couple of years ago outside of a nursery somewhere. I think when the news broke out that he got shot outside of a nursery, the details were that he was a mistaken identity. Allegedly, somebody else was the target, and that guy unfortunately died because there's like a gang rivalry in Hackney between I think Homerton and I think London Fields, some of the LF boys. So that happened. Unfortunately, one of the people involved in it was a very well-known up-and-coming drill rapper called KO. Well, he was convicted of murder and he's now been sentenced. And unfortunately, he got hit with a 37-year sentence. Life in prison. And the wild thing about it, from what I've been able to read, is that KO wasn't even the shooter. So he rapped about it. He might have been involved in the planning of it, but he didn't actually shoot the gun. So I think it's like a joint enterprise conviction in that they can't find the shooter. No one in the gang is willing to give him up. No one's snitching. So the courts are like, okay, cool, you're gonna get it now. And the reason why he's getting it is because KO in one of his tunes, he basically said a detail in the song that wasn't known by the police. So he made a really big fatal flaw, a really big fatal error in that he rapped about something in the lyrics that only the police knew. And I think he said something like, because I think the guy that killed, the kid that got killed, R.I.P. to him, this guy called Kacey Boothe, who was part of the other gang, he allegedly had a brother who was also shot. And I think in the lyrics, KO says something like, the guy that got killed and his brother got shot by the same gun or something. And that's something that only the shooter, only people involved in it would have known, or the police. So they obviously nanked him for that. And now he got life in prison, even though they can't prove that he's the one that shot the gun. Wild, wild, wild shit. So let's read the article courtesy of Sky News. Drill rapper Kamar Henry Richards jailed for life for gang rival Kacey Booth's revenge murder. And it's wild because Kacey Boothe kind of looks like Mal. Isn't it? Kacey Boothe kind of looks like Mal from the new Memorial Mole show. As a drill rapper shot dead a gang rival outside the baby's birthday party and boasted about the murder in the video, has been jailed for life along with 3 accomplices. Kamar Henry Richards shot Kacey Boothe, 25, at Peterhouse Community Centre in Walthamstow, North London in August 2022, which is kind of near me. Mr. Boothe was there for the first birthday of his friend Khalid Samoth's 1-year-old child. So allegedly, this Khalid guy was the actual target. The target wasn't Kacey Boothe. Days later, Henry Richards, known as KO, bragged about the killing in a video called KO Laughing Stop, rapping that he used the same gun to injure the victim's brother 2 years earlier. But I don't think he said he did it. He just rapped about it in the lyrics, but the police still convicted him. The lyric says, Big Boothe and Little Boothe got hit, same sig, that's a sour family. So I don't think he says that he shot the person. So that's the thing. They're interpreting it like he said he shot them. But if you say Big Boothe and Little Boothe got hit, same sig, that's a sour family, that doesn't mean that you shot them. It just means that you know that they were shot by the same gun, which is obviously, woo. Both got slapped at functions, neck and head, handguns come handy. Obviously, KO's a barrer, by the way. It's a real loss for the drill, genre and hip hop in general, because this KO kid can spit. Like, he's really fucking good. But unfortunately, he's gone for life. In another version of the lyrics, it says, Big Boothe should have lurked, got his neck and back ripped, Little got burst, should have been with his. Henry Richards, 26, was jailed for life at the Old Bailey with a minimum term of 37 years for the murder on Tuesday. Kamani Brightly Donaldson, 25, of Romford, and Jeffrey Gaima, 23, and Jao Petcote, who's definitely Angolan. So, all right, so Banyo Do Joao, both from Hackney, were found guilty of the murder, conspiracy to murder, and possession of firearm to endanger life. All 4 defendants have admitted to having links to E9 or being linked with Holly Street gangs and previous convictions. Brightly Donaldson was jailed for life for a minimum of 38 years. Gimai got 35 years, and my Angolan brother Patekote got 37 years behind bars. Jesus Christ, bro. Yo, being in a gang has its benefits, right? You get the cool image. You get to fucking, ride out on your ops. You get the girls. You get the fear in the streets that you fucking like. But Jesus Christ, man, being in a gang has the cons are like brutal. Either you die or you go to prison for long. Or you go to prison for long stretch of your life. Like, you end up like Digga D. Digga D's been in prison probably longer than he's been out of prison, isn't it? Most likely. He's been in and out of jail this entire time he's been famous. So being in a gang has its benefits, but the cons, you die or you go into prison. Woo. Or your name, but obviously the pros are like, your name rings out. So now these guys are going to be legends in their hood because they rode out. Because allegedly, the story goes that KO's boy, one of his close friends called Shegs, was killed by the rival gang. So he avenged the killing of his friend Shegs, who he's still distraught about, still cut up about, still emotional about, and still kind of, suffering from PTSD shit from. He got revenge on his boy. So he rode out on his boy, got revenge for it, but now he's also threw his life away. That's the only sad thing about the situation. So, you can't cry too much for the victims because they're all involved in the life. You can't cry too much for the perpetrators because they're all involved in life. They know what comes of it. But God almighty, man, kids are like 25, 27, throwing away their life for a gang. It's wild. 37 years and all you get is like YouTube documentaries and people like me talking about you. Do you know what I mean? Your family aren't around. You don't get to lift your family out of poverty. You don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your talent and shit. You just throw it all away for that. And this is minimum, by the way. Minimum terms. Minimum terms of 35 years. That's basically life in the UK. Damn. The judge, Lynn Tatum Casey, called the killing a planned revenge attack arising out of a gang rivalry in the context of the ongoing pattern of serious tete-for-tete violence. Booth's older brother, Kyle Booth, survived being shot by the same gun in 2020. Prosecutors Anthony Orchid Casey said Henry Richards' video goaded London fields about the E9 Holly Street gang enemies and glorified the murder of Kate. But they all do that, though. That's what drill rap is all about. They all are goading each other and kind of, glorifying killings and shootings, even though they're not involved. So if you lock up this kid for 37 years, you have to lock up everybody else. That's what they all do. But record labels still, that's why record labels are kind of complicit behind this also. Because if this music is so demonic, it's so destructive, it's tearing communities apart, tearing families apart, basically, resulting in people's murders, then surely you should stop funding it. You should stop spending money on it. But obviously, the storytelling part of it, the realness of it, the things that the reason why fans love it so much is because of how real it is. That's the really hard thing to wrangle. The fans who love drill, the fans who love that genre, the fans who watch all the documentaries, who follow all the artists, who know the up-and-coming people are, who like all the videos, who put all the murders together, they like it because it's real, because it has consequences. It isn't like this hip-hop shit that we know, the mainstream shit, where they barely fight each other. This shit actually results in people losing their lives, going to prison, getting marked out, getting rushed, getting beaten up in Dubai, in Ibiza, whatever. This has real-life consequences. So part of the allure is also the reason why it's so destructive and results in so many young kids going to prison. The track contained specific information about the circumstances in which Kacey Boothe has been killed that were not public domain. The judge admitted that Mr. Boothe was targeted because of his links to the city gang culture, but he was first and foremost a young man with a life ahead of him who leaves behind a mother, partner, and children. Mr. Booth's mother, Mauricia Rowe, said in an impact statement, "No limit of the endless suffering we feel must live with every day." But yeah, he was on the roads, his brother got shot, he was part of a gang himself, most likely, was hanging out with people in the gang. It's unfortunate that he got killed, don't get me wrong, but, the company you keep sometimes as well is also important. That's why in ends, you have to be aware of who you are alongside and who you're with. And sometimes you have to keep it with you if you're with people who have a target on their back, because you could also be in the line of fire. It just is the name of the game. It's unfortunate all the way around because all these young men have lost their lives. These people are all in prison for 35 plus years. And this guy, unfortunately, is no longer alive anymore. So everybody loses across the board. But the really wild thing about this is that, I've now discovered this KO guy, and this KO kid who's been alleged to be the perpetrator of the shooting, who actually didn't do it, according to people online, released a freestyle while in prison. Talking about the sentence, talking about his situation, and it's really fucking good. And again, it's a real shame because, he's not going to be able to release music legitimately anymore. And I'm sure most likely they'll put a hold on this. Once this has been leaked, I'm sure the authorities aren't going to be happy about it. They're probably going to make sure that he's not going to have access to phones and shit. But this is a really good fucking freestyle. Listen to this freestyle from KO, the person that has now been in prison, has now been jailed for 37 years for the murder of Kacey Boothe. It's a really good freestyle.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And if you get a stretch, don't forget yourself. Sometimes the outcomes you expect's not what you get yourself. How do I know? I went against Rex and got to wreck myself. If the streets were a coin, won't be head or tails, would be death or jail. 2 fails, I got the better L. sitting in my cell trying to get this bread and swell. Listen, there's a difference between badness and just mental health. Still got differences to settle, bro, and weapons help. Most my problems can't be squashed, one or two can reconcile. Bill said I can still run up streams and make some records sell. True, the dream is getting rich, it doesn't have to end in jail. Not in any shape, the Raleighs took my freedom, not my means of getting paid. So still I hope my fans are pressing play. Fuck it, even if they ain't, I'm pressing packs and any other contraband, I'm trying to get it through them gates. Even though I'm stuck behind these prison walls, your network's your net worth. I'm trying to make my quids off calls, even if it's minimal, it's better than moaning. Investing it is pivotal, it's better than holding. Don't ever make it visible when you're feeling broken. Anytime that we got ridiculed, we stepped a bit loaded. Still trying to Liverpool, drill when just lyrical. Never reached my pinnacle, my time got stolen. It's ironic, I was stealing time. Take his piece of shine, tinted whip will make the seats recline. If you can see inside, stuck in darkness, can't see no light. Locked but I'm breathing fine, I sleep at night, knowing I'm getting richer for me and mine. It's free the guys until you were unlocked. Bagged most the gang, now you don't hear any gunshots. Feds done a sweep and they left nothing behind. Any match starting with 3 was a struggle for buying. That's 3 2s, 3 8s, but we had enough of the 9. That's probably why the cops had enough of the 9. We were raining on the streets and made the pavement slippery, until they rained us in and took away man's liberty. No lie, my heart sank when them verdicts got delivered, and now it's armed bands that I'm wearing on the visit. Funny that, true, I was a captain on the curbs. You know how much works that's been mashed off my word. If it's not me, it's Reeks pushing that energy. Got memories of 10 man pushing in 7 seats. Kept something in my genes, but this ain't hereditary. Looking at a third of a century, but C'est la Vie. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And if you get stretched, don't forget yourself. Sometimes the outcome you expect's not what you get yourself. I know, I went against Rex and got to wreck myself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And if you get stretched, don't forget yourself. Sometimes the outcome you expect's not what you get. I know, I went against Rex and got a wreck.
Honestly, that was hard. I really did. That was really fucking good. And I'm not really the biggest fan of drill. One thing that was interesting from the lyrics, when I was able to decipher, is that they're going back and forth with this rival gang. And he's basically saying that they were stepping, right? They were out there doing a lot of drillings. They were out there doing a lot of fucking ride outs. And they essentially upped the scoreboard in their favor. But in the process, they've now all lost their lives, you know? So you got the one up on your rival gang. Because I never thought about it that way. You got the one up. You took all their main drillers, all their main shooters, all their main guys off the table by either killing them or putting them in prison or whatever, or chasing them out of the ends. But now, because of that, you've now all lost your lives. You know? I never thought about it in that way. Like, yeah, of course, there's no more, you know, there's no more activity going out there on the streets because you put the pressure on and you've made the rival gang scared. But now you were also not around anymore to enjoy that, you know, tranquility, that peace, that ceasefire, so to speak, or that quit. You're kind of out because you went to prison for 37 years. And then, you know, the circumstances of it too is really crazy because I don't get the feeling that he took credit for a shooting. I got the feeling that if you're a part of a gang and a rival gets killed, of course you're going to brag about it because that's your rival. You know what I mean? You're kind of allowed to. That's part of being a gang. Like, you kind of claim the W's for the gang. You're part of the group. But I guess it comes with its risks because if you talk about it, people are going to assume that you were involved and you're going to want the cachet and the clout that comes from it. So you have to take the positive and the negatives. If you take the positives of people knowing that you rode out for your boy, you got revenge for your dude, Shegs, allegedly, who passed away, who was one of his close friends, you're going to have to also accept the negatives of that. Hey, you took the credit for the shooting, now they're pinning the shooting on you. So if it wasn't you, you have to give the person up. You're not going to snitch, so then you take the L, you know? And I'm curious to know if the shooter does actually end up getting arrested. Will they actually end up figuring out who the shooter is? Because it seems like this gang is kind of tight and they don't snitch. No one said anything because all 4 of them got arrested and they're all going to prison now for 37 plus years. And it seems like no one gave up anybody, which is quite rare. So no one folded, which is also quite admirable in that regard because I'm not really the biggest fan of that shit. I feel like, you know, if you're going to choose that lifestyle, I feel like the snitching thing is such a cop-out. It's such a bitch move when you know the risks. You know the risks are that you're most likely going to die or end up in prison and you still go down that route, then you owe it to your brothers, your sisters, whoever is in the gang to stick by the code and not snitch. That's what you know what I mean? That's what you signed up for. It's not the right way to go about doing life, but if you do that with a clear conscience, then commit to the lifestyle, you know, towards, you know, all the way until the end. Don't then, as soon as the pressure ups and now your freedom's at stake, now suddenly you have a conscience. Now suddenly you want to be a good person. No. You go towards the end. So it's quite nice to see that in that respect. But yeah, what a mad situation, man. What a mad situation all around. Everybody lost. The victim, Kacey Boothe, his family have lost somebody. They're probably never going to recover from it. The brother, you can also imagine Big Boothe. He probably feels a little bit crazy too, knowing that his younger brother got killed and he survived. That survivor's guilt is going to be fucking crazy. The person that shot him is never going to be at peace. They're going to be constantly looking over their shoulder for retribution, because for sure, the person that shot him is definitely known in the ends. You know, probably everybody knows who actually shot Kacey Boothe. So he's probably not going to feel safe. That person had to move away, still not going to feel safe. And then the guy's in prison, you know, your life's been thrown away for over one record. Fucking crazy. Absolutely fucking crazy. But again, no surprise. No surprise. Continuing on. So, I saw this clip, right, courtesy of this user on Twitter, that features Dasha from Red Scare. And it got me thinking, I wonder if part of the success of Red Scare is due to the reason that we don't get to see them. I think Red Scare being a primarily audio-based podcast with no video, they only record audio, might be the reason why it's so successful. Because I think if we got to see Anna and Dasha every day with this vocal fry, with the way that they look, I don't think it will be as successful. I think people will get fed up with them sooner rather than later. But I think with just the voice, you get to kind of picture them differently in your head. But when you hear them actually speak on camera, it kind of makes you think, how do I listen to? Because I listen to Red Scare quite often, and I'm like, I didn't notice how bad the vocal fry was until I saw this video. And I listen to the podcast all the time. I'm subscribed to the Patreon. Like, I'm a supporter. I'm on the Reddit all the time. But I even myself, being a fan of Red Scare, did not notice how bad the vocal fry was until I saw this video of Dasha being interviewed on another show via video. Let's play the clip.
I mean, I think he was a normie who had a back injury and he wasn't cut out for the incel lifestyle. And so then he started experimenting with ayahuasca and like psychedelic drugs. And that's what drove him crazy. And then...
The one-shot thesis?
Yeah, exactly. He got one-shotted. I think it gives him like a popular and convenient motive to target like a healthcare CEO.
Like, have you ever heard anybody in real life who speaks like, even that image at the end, like, it's almost like she's making herself fall asleep. That vocal fry, that like way of talking is just wild, bro. At that age, because she's not a young lady anymore. I think she's maybe in her mid-30s or something. It's kind of insane how they talk like this on purpose every single day. It's like, but I guess maybe it's also, maybe vocal fry has especially in New York, maybe that type of vocal fry has a weird intellectual vibe about it. No, has a weird pseudo intellectual vibe about it. You almost kind of want to appear as if you're way more learned and cultured and well read and considered when you have that really aggressive vocal fry, because that is not normal. Normal people don't speak like this in conversations, surely, but they do. And I wonder if a big part of their success is in part due to them sounding like that and to us only hearing them speak. Because this comment, courtesy of this person on Twitter, says the following: the Red Scare types always type online like they're the top tier 1% gorgeous glamorous philosophers of our generation, but they're so boring and plain faced to me. Where do they get the confidence to have heart as dark as Dasha while looking so meh? Well, I think this also applies to How Long Gone. I think How Long Gone podcast that I'm a big fan of, that I love, I think a big part of How Long Gone being successful is that it's audio only and not video. I think if we saw a lot of TJ and Chris on video interviewing their guests, and we saw how sometimes TJ and Chris can get a little bit ratty or get a little bit irritated or get a bit snarky on video, I think people already hate them anyway, hate them. I think most people would hate them way more if they had a video element. I think the audio just takes that away and makes you just focus on the words that they're saying or the guests that they're interviewing. So you can maybe separate the art from the artist more if it's audio only, it being a video podcast. I think way more people are willing to like I think for me personally is a good example. People will probably see me, hear me speak, or see what I look like, and write me off for better or worse because of the video element of it. But if people could only hear what I have to say, I think I'd probably have way more people who'd be understanding and forgiving of some of the things that they don't like about me. But when you have a video, you can instantly see, okay, that person, fuck them, I don't like you for X, Y, and Z reason. Which is probably a smart move to make. It's probably a smart move. Because as girls, they probably thought to themselves, you know what? There's an element that they're probably leaving money on the table by not being video only. By also not having video. Because a lot of people out there love supporting female streamers or content creators anyway, or just like to look at girls talking. So they could probably get way more fans, way more plays, way more views if they did have a video element. But them sticking to the audio is a good idea, because imagine watching them speak for an hour plus on video, sounding and listening like this. It'd be fucking unbearable. Unbearable. Let's play. We're going to play? I want to play it one more time because this is fucking wild. Let's play it one more time before we leave. One more time before I switch over to the next topic. Let's play it one more time.
I mean, I think he was a normie who had a back injury and he wasn't cut out for the incel lifestyle. And so then he started experimenting with ayahuasca and like psychedelic drugs. And that's what drove him crazy. And then...
The one-shot thesis?
Yeah, exactly. He got one-shotted. I think it gives him like a popular and convenient motive to target like a healthcare CEO.
She was making herself fall asleep. Yo, big up on Queso Moses. That vocal fry is too valley for me. That's the thing. They're not even from the valley. That's the interesting thing about vocal fry. They're both from the East Coast. They're both entrenched. They're both New Yorkers to their core, but they sound like they're from the valley. Very, very, very interesting. Big up Swiggity Swooty. Wait, why do you like listening to Red Scare? It's just a good podcast to listen to. I think some of the cultural stuff they talk about I'm into. They usually have pretty decent book recommendations, movie recommendations, documentaries recommendations. And I'm also a fan of listening to dicey opinions, you know? I don't mind a dicey opinion here and there. And they're definitely in there, especially Anna. Anna loves to be a contrarian just for the sake of it. So I love to listen to what she has to say about topics, because she usually is completely, you know, out of touch with what most people think. But I also want to hear what somebody that is trying their best to be a contrarian would sound like on a topic where most people largely agree on one narrative or one interpretation. She'll go out of her way to be, you know, to be a little bit controversial, which I don't really mind, really. So I don't mind it. I don't fucking mind it. I'm glad we got experts like Check Dylan Roof. Why does she talk like that? In the comments, why does she talk like that? Guys in the comments saying Dasha is a troon, have clearly never been to a Minsk whorehouse. Luigi 100% not a normie. Her vocal fry one-shotted me. That's a good one. Average Rescue episode. What? The scene from June. Average Rescue episode. Salusa Secundus Imperial Army Planet. That's hilarious. The way she talks makes me fucking angry. That, and I want to start punching holes in drywall. Jesus Christ. She speaks as if she's actually aware of how others are perceiving her at all times. She's primarily communicating a perception of herself by nominally discussing a topic. It strikes me as oddly narcissistic, even though the focus is superficially on another person. Yeah, duh. Of course. That's a perfect description of Red Scare. Perfect description of Red Scare. Yeah. Acutely aware of how they sound, but doing it via the conduit or via the using other people or topics as a conduit, but not wanting to have the attention on yourself. Of course, 100%. Big up Dimitri. The vocal fry is a joke. God damn, I almost threw my phone out the window after hearing that awful voice. Fuck, this accent is insufferable. That's what she sounds like. What a demonic creature. What demonic creature is this? Listen to some vocal fry roasty. No. Is that a transmission? Oh, Jesus Christ. She's not going to like that. She's definitely going to cry about that next episode. Why would a back injury force him to be an incel lifestyle? What does her default voice sound like when she's not using vocal fry for anything? The other thing that's really hard to listen to, and I've noticed it, and I can't unnotice it now via Red Scare, even though I'm a fan of Red Scare, is the laughing. Dasha's cackle is like ear splitting, bro. It's ear splitting. I remember once when I was checking the Reddit, some guys will be saying, oh, it's kind of hot how she screams, how she cackles. But honestly, I find her cackle and her scream to be absolutely ear bleeding shit. So if you don't like vocal fry and you don't like screeching or really crazy loud voices and shit when somebody's laughing in the background, don't listen to Red Scare. But if you do like dicey opinions, and you do like girls who go out their way to be contrarian just to act cool, you do, and or if you're a fan of girls who are very anti Me Too, I think it's a really good podcast to listen to, because usually online you don't get a lot of girls who are gonna be anti Me Too or anti cancel culture, but Dasha and Anna are usually are usually always arguing in favor of the men when it comes to Me Too cases, which is also interesting to see. So definitely check it out. So I'm a big fan of it. I still listen to it for the lows. Let's continue. This is a post courtesy of Scuba Ryan. Big up Scuba Ryan on social media. Scuba Ryan said the following. Lil Baby says he didn't expect Kacey to understand his album due to him being of a younger generation, but still respects him even after he rated WHAM 6 out of 10. So this is Lil Baby interpretation of Kacey's review of his album. Let's play the clip.
To not have reviewed the project. Were you able to see that review, and what did you think of it?
I seen like little clips of it, but people like Kacey, I feel like they like younger.
Yeah.
Like they ain't gonna really to understand how I'm coming. You kind of gotta be a little older to get it.
Who do you think is like the right age demographic?
See, that's something that's like changed anyway, because I never would think no age demographic good to like rate music unless you're like a music person. The screamers and the people who like do reviews is like they personal opinion.
So you're an artist who still like respects the opinion of a music pundit or like a journalist or someone who's...
I respect everybody's opinion. Everybody got opinions. See, that's a part of like the new generation. They don't even have that when I first started dropping it. You might got one or two people who do like reviews, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like more of a, I don't know what to call it, what it be now though. I could honestly see it be like, it's just like to go viral. I see people post like they hate a song, but they still playing the song.
And so that's kind of what you've stopped paying as much attention to.
I ain't never paid attention to that type, but now I just see it more. But I never paid attention to it, whether if it was a great review or not. I don't look at stuff like that. Not saying for me, I'm saying for anybody. Like I never go and watch somebody else review an album. I'm gonna listen to the album and feel how I feel.
I like his overall attitude. I think the idea of saying that, hey, Kacey wouldn't get my album anyway because he's too young, but then saying I also have listeners across the board, it doesn't matter about ages, is a bit funny. But I do appreciate that he didn't fly off the handle, he didn't jump out the window or get upset or angry that Kacey rated his album a 6 out of 10, because let's be honest, it probably was a 6 out of 10 anyway, across the board. Now, people expect him to do a 3 out of 10. People expect him to flop like Meek Mill and to be really terrible, but maybe he's not as good as we all thought he was when he first started. Right, maybe that level that he showed us when he came out the gate, because it's almost like it feels like a bit of a poison chalice situation, or like a golden handcuff situation. In that when he came out of the game, Lil Baby, he came out so hard, so good, so quickly, it made us think he was gonna be generational. Because it's like, hey, if you're starting like this, if you're starting with freestyle, and you with your short hair, no dreads, imagine how much better you're gonna get as the years progress. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It seems like freestyle was like his peak, and ever since then, he's been trying to desperately kind of match that kind of level. But I still think the album, considering how people were writing him off, is still really good. I appreciate the fact that he didn't waste our time. The album runtime is about 40 minutes, maybe just under that, maybe just over that, which I think is a perfect sweet spot. Great features, some great tunes on there that I'm a big fan of. Say Twin, I really love. A lot of people don't like it. That's my favorite track on the fucking album. That's just featuring him himself, no features. The features are really good with Young Thug and Future and shit. And I think it's a good platform for him to continue going. And hopefully we see a lot more. I'm not expecting experimentation, but I just want quality. I want the tracks to sound like he's taking time with it. I don't expect him to suddenly become Kanye West because he's not that artist. I just want to hear it sound good. Like you've invested time into the records, you thought about the lyrics, you thought about the beat selection, you thought about the choruses, the melodies, all that malarkey going forward. So I'm a big fan of that. But I do agree that most artists shouldn't pay attention to reviews. I think if you're an artist, if you're creative, you should probably be spending most of your time on the work, not caring about the reviews. I also would go as far as saying that I think listeners who get recommendations on albums they should check out or not check out based on reviewers are also a little bit redacted. I think if you're listening to Fantano and you're watching him because he's recommended you albums that you're going to listen to regardless if he likes them or not, that's one thing. I think that's a good thing. If you're using Fantano as like a filter, because you can't be bothered to go through every album, you let him review stuff, and even if he doesn't like it, you still check it out anyway. But I don't think that's the case. I think most people use album reviewers as like people to kind of filter even their choices, so you don't have to think too much. So if I say something is good, you listen to it. But if something is bad, you want to listen to it. I don't think that's a great way to go about it, because me personally, being a somewhat part-time music reviewer, I'm only going to talk about stuff that I like, to be honest. I'm not in the business of talking about stuff that I don't like. I don't invest that much time into it. I just play it one time and keep it moving. So if you listen to my recommendations, I'm going to recommend you stuff that I like, which obviously isn't the best way to review shit. You should also review everything, right, across the board if you don't like it, and talk about it as well. But I do like, personally, I am liking that these streamers are bringing back the album reviews, because even Academics, who's the most well-known person out here for hip-hop in that space, doesn't review albums. He really doesn't. He spends most of his time talking about first week sales, talking about like views and plays, which I always felt was annoying, because I get the first week sale thing is important. He's kind of popularized it, but I felt like there should be a focus also on the actual records. Like, how does the tune sound? Is the tune good? Yes or no? Please, for the love of God, let's return to that. Let's return to people actually reviewing albums. And that's what you get with these streamers. Kai Cenat and all these guys, Your Rage, all these people, they will sit down and actually play the tune, play the album on Spotify, track by track, and rate it while they're on stream. I think that's very much needed nowadays. We need a lot more people doing that. And I feel like if Kai Cenat is a person to do it, even though he's not the most musical guy, you're not going to Kai Cenat for his musical reviews. I think if that becomes a trend going forward, people sitting down and actually reviewing albums, track for track, I think that's a good thing for music overall. And I think it's also nice for the artist, because some of these artists probably think people just care about singles, so they put all their energy into putting out good singles that will go viral, that will be on playlists. But some of us, myself included, we love albums. I like the whole project. I want to listen to the whole body of work. I want to listen to the whole thing in sequence and see how it flows together. See if I can put together a theme, if I can put together an idea, if I can get an impression of feeling based on the whole body of work. And if that's being pushed by Kai Cenat and being reintroduced in market, I'm all for it. I'm fucking all for it. And big up Lil Baby for having a good attitude and not taking it personally. You gotta love it. You have to freaking love it. So big up Lil Baby for that. Big up Lil Baby for that one. Let's move on to the next one. Next one regarding Bill Burr. Big up Bill Burr giving Jimmy Kimmel a good seeing to. You love a bit of good Bill Burr giving Jimmy Kimmel a good seeing to. You freaking love it. We freaking love it.
I heard you had to evacuate your home.
Yes, like most people I had to. I got lucky, the winds moved, but, the fire was coming and all that stuff. So I feel lucky.
Are you guys back in?
And I think everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
Unlike the internet,
Yeah, right, I know. It's right.
Oh, my God. All of these fire experts. Why didn't you just fly a helicopter into the ocean? And then just, I don't know, because there was 100-knot winds. You want to do that? You want to do that at night, you lunatic?
How are you?
This was definitely mismanaged.
That's a big word we're hearing now.
Mismanaged, like some idiot on the internet knows how to manage the worst fire in LA, sitting there in his underwear. You know what? Looking at the footage on the internet, I have determined that this here was mismanaged.
You gotta love it, innit? And I love that mostly because of everyone does this, especially people online who are obsessed with celebrity relationships. They're always very quick to call somebody out and say, oh, you should break up with this person, you should leave that person, da-da-da-da. But most of these people in their real lives are way more forgiving of way more egregious actions by men, or who have people in their family who have done way worse than some celebrity have done online. But, it's always nice to fucking armchair quarterback. So big up Bill Burr for calling it out.
You know about helicopters because I remember, and it's interesting now thinking about it, because you said that...
About it. I know about the one that I fly. Other than that, I don't know anything about it.
You know
but
something
if you're on
about...
the internet, you know everything.
I hope you know about it because you said that you got your pilot's license in case like all hell broke loose in L.A., you could get out of L.A. And at any moment, did you think, I'm going to make a run for that helicopter?
Well, the error in my thought was I didn't realize how expensive helicopters were. So all I have is a 2-seater, and I didn't want to have to make Sophie's choice with my family. So, we all piled into the SUV like everybody else. But no, man, these guys were out there clearing the trees, getting the wires back up and everything. I mean, it was like the perfect awful thing that could have happened, and it did. And I love how all the chatter out there is about bands of illegal immigrants and homeless people lighting fires. They light fires every day. They're living outside, cold. And this theory that some homeless guy without a car went from Altadena all the way to the Pacific Palisades. And then we have a hang glider.
No, the funny thing about the fires, though, was that how it was happening at the same time. Because I think there was a video, actually, of the... Who was it? Yeah, there was a video. It's just funny human beings. I don't think anyone is actually saying that the fires were because of homeless people, but I think it's funny how insensitive and illogical some people are. I remember seeing a video during the midst of the forest of the LA wildfires, right? When everything is actually on fire, there were people on the beach lighting those lanterns people do where they go up in the air. It's like a balloon. It's got like a lantern in it or whatever, some sort of thing that lifts up and shit. People were lighting those lanterns on the beach while this wildfire was happening. Now, they're doing it on the beach. The winds are probably dragging the fucking balloons over there, whatever. There's a reason for it. And some woman went up to them, some Karen, and was screaming at them, "Oh my God, people's houses are on fire. People are losing everything. And you're fucking lighting balloons on fire. What the fuck are you doing?" And this argument, and it just fascinates me how humans act. Like, on one side, people are losing their entire possessions with this fire. And another thing, there are people lighting fireworks in the streets, having a blast, caring nothing about, the optics, or about whatever else is going on. They don't give a fuck. They're just doing what they're doing. So I like that that's a thing, while people's houses are on fire, bums are on the street lighting bonfires because their hands and feet are cold, which makes sense, but it's just funny.
And they're talking about looting, but CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yeah. Yes. Free Luigi.
He's right, though. He's right about that. Because the looting is also involving black and brown people. So, let's feature the black and brown people looting from the rich. But let's not talk about the insurance companies who cancels people's home insurance and who are likely not going to pay out on anyone's home insurance anyway. Let's not talk about them.
I love how they acted surprised. Why did that happen? I have no idea. He wrote on the bullets why it happened.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, yeah.
I never left Luigi.
How is Bill Burr, the father, the husband, in an emergency situation?
I don't know. I'm all right. Like when big stuff happens, I get ridiculously calm. My Achilles heel is little things. So, like, if the house was going to be on fire, I would just be like, well, kind of be cool to not own anything. Like, I'll just go into that mode. An opportunity to build a dream house with the money I no longer have. I would just think like that. But, like, little things I flip out at. Like, if I go to make toast and then all of a sudden it burns, I'm like, who the is changing the settings? And what I realized... I just realized this backstage is what it is I learned as a kid when big things are happening, keep your mouth shut or the big thing comes at you. Ooh. And then I flip out over the little things because I'm emoting about that in this. So I don't make any sense to anybody in my house. They're like, Dad, it's toast. What is the big deal? It's like, well, I would tell you what the big deal was, but it's too sad. So we'll just keep it on the toast.
Honestly, he's the best. I fucking love Bill. Don't get me wrong. I think therapy's kind of damaged Bill in the same way that when Lil Wayne went through his period of like not drinking lean anymore and being sober and being clean, kind of damaged him as an artist. I think Bill Burr's been somewhat damaged by being an actual good father, by being a good husband and seeking therapy and trying to work on these issues has made him less embittered, It's made him less snarky, less angry. But he also seems like a really good dude. That's the thing. Like he seems like one of the only comedians who actually loves his wife. like legitimately. Like he actually appreciates his wife and what she does for him in terms of his career, the impact that she's had on his life, the fact that she's a good mother as well to his children. He talks about his kids with love and glee. He doesn't speak about them like they're annoying. He doesn't over exaggerate stories to make those kids seem like the most funniest, amazing kids in the world, like other comedians do. He doesn't speak about his kids like they're a fucking burden, He actually seems to be appreciative of his family and that side of his life. And he's done the work clearly to try to be a better person by seeking therapy. But unfortunately for us fans who are toxic, who aren't the most, who aren't the most who aren't the most forgiving, we're getting a less potent version of Bill Burr because of him being introspective and for doing that work on his mental health and on himself anyway. Because he's definitely not as like angry and easily rattled as he once was, which is the best version of Bill. You listen to, his podcast, the same sort of thing. So he's a little bit neutered, he's a little bit soft around the edges, but still there are moments where that kind of bite comes out. Because this is a perspective I never heard anybody say. I've never heard anybody online talking about how people who are commenting on the forest fires, who are lambasting all the officials, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Everyone's been on the side of like, oh, this big lesbian woman doesn't know what she's doing. Look at this black lady, she only got her job based on her race. Look at Gavin Newsom, he's fucking useless. Everyone's been running with that narrative. But Bill Burr's first person to make you think, oh, actually, maybe they do know what they're doing, and maybe this is an impossible job, and maybe you in your boxers or in your fucking PJs at home, you don't have a fucking foggiest what you're talking about. So big up Bill Burr for doing that. I just wish his material on stage was as good, because that special that he put out recently was pretty fucking terrible, unfortunately. But hey, you can't do everything right. You can't do everything right. Let's move on. Let's big up and let's talk a little bit about this particular post here featuring actor Djimon Hounsou, who was in Black Panther and loads of other things as well, saying that he's struggling financially and blaming systemic racism, even though his net worth is $4 million. This is courtesy of the account End Wokeness, and it features a clip of Djimon speaking on CNN. Let's play the clip.
I just came off the boat and off the streets where Steven Spielberg, used me for this film, and even though I successfully did that, they just didn't feel like I was an actor for whom we should pay any respect to. So this conceptual idea of diversity and all that, it still has a long way to go. Systemic racism don't change like that anytime soon. I mean, I'm still struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business?
After, let's speak, 30 years, let's say like maybe the first 10 years was really trying to, sort of acclimate myself to the industry.
And establish yourself.
And establish myself. I've been in this business and making films now over 2 decades, and still, with 2 Oscar nominations, been in many big blockbuster films, and yet I'm still struggling financially to make a living.
I swear there's more of a you problem than the problem with the industry. If you've been in the industry for 30 years and you've have Oscar nominations, you've been in blockbuster movies, and you're still struggling financially, surely that's a you problem, or maybe at a stretch a problem with the industry that you now have to look at other options to basically, make sure that you can make a living. 30 years and you're still struggling financially, even though you've been in those movies. Come on, man. Maybe get a second job. Maybe get a side job. Maybe, I don't know, get into streaming. Maybe start a podcast or do something to kind of add to that income, or to basically allow you a little bit more flexibility, so you're not kind of depending on one check that is a little bit temperamental. Because I understand, I've done a little bit of acting, a little bit of short acting work as an extra, very minuscule, very minor, whatever. But the days are long, and you don't get paid that much for the days that you're doing it, right? You're there shooting, quote unquote, for 16 hours, but you're maybe only in front of a camera for maybe 1 or 2 hours in a day. The rest of the time you're sat in a changing room, in a locker room, in a porter cabin, whatever, in your full makeup, in your full outfit with other people, waiting to go on. So it's a long time just fucking around, not doing anything. I get it. But it does pay, when you get up in the ranks, it can pay well. And you can also use it as a platform to do other things. Advertisements, walkthroughs, appearances, blah, 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 blah. So if he hasn't figured out a way to get the most out of acting whilst being in those big movies and to kind of use those roles as leverage, use those roles as options to kind of jump off him to get other bits of money, that's mostly his issue. To blame it on systemic racism is fucking insane, because how is it systemically racist if you, a very black looking man, a very African looking man with a very African sounding name, have made it? If you've made it, it can't be systemically racist. It's impossible. It's almost like the Tremaine Emory Denim Tears thing, saying Supreme is systemically racist. How can a company be systemically racist when they hire you? You know, you look the way you do. How can it be systemically racist? How can the industry be racist when you're hired, when you're a part of big movies, when some of those movies are black themed, you know, with an entirely black cast? How can it be systemic racism? Like, I hate when people do this sort of thing, like waving a racism flag or racism card because you fail to gain the most out of it, or you fail to extract the most out of it. It's really unfair to the amount of people out there who are struggling, who are working hard, and who are busting their ass. Because sometimes, especially in acting, I think I've read online, it's a really hard profession to make any money out of anyway. Even for the best of people out there, it's really difficult to make it. Most people are living check to check, and you just have to kind of figure out how it works best for yourself, which probably also might explain why so many actors are involved in liquor companies, are involved in restaurants, are involved in bars, hotels, you know, have their own podcasts. It seems because of this, because there's not, you know, a lot of money, especially now in the post-COVID world where movies aren't as important, where people don't care about movies as much as they did in the past, where people aren't going to watch big blockbusters anymore. It makes complete sense why, you know, why these sort of things are happening and why maybe artists or maybe actors themselves are probably struggling financially. But to blame it on systemic racism is so unfair and so insulting to people who are actually struggling in industries that are legitimately systemically racist. But I don't think Hollywood is. I'm not going to accept that. I don't think that is at all. I think Djimon needs to fucking pull his finger out and figure out a way to get more money. But if it's not acting, then it is what it is. If it's not acting, then it is what it is. Next post is courtesy of this guy called Colin Rugg, and it says the follows, the caption: a flight attendant launches a GoFundMe and raises $261 after she was fired for posting a video of her twerking on a plane. The sky's just got a little bit clearer. The self-proclaimed Ghetto B Tilla DIE is complaining that she was wrongfully fired by Alaska Airlines after her stunt. Nelly Diala says that she was devastated by her firing and raised a whopping $261. I've never thought a single moment would cost me everything. I was proud of what I did. Although this was my dream job, I was using the income to fund my blossoming lingerie and dessert business. Lingerie and dessert business, you know? What an absolute donkey. So let's play the clip. So this is her twerking on a plane. You know what's the sad thing about it? She can't even dance. The twerking is really bad. She can't even dance. And it's like you lost your job, probably a decent salary, being an air hostess or airline host, whatever they're called, for a bit of, you know, a little bit of virality online, and then you open or you start a GoFundMe. And thank God for the internet, because sometimes the internet can be stupid. But thankfully, the internet wasn't dumb, didn't fall for her nonsense, read the story, and was like, you don't deserve anything. And she only managed to raise $261. So you've lost everything. You've damaged your reputation. You fucked up your CV, because, you know, people love to Google people nowadays when you apply for jobs. So most likely people are going to be Googling you. They're going to find out what you did at work, and they're going to be very hesitant or wary of hiring you. And I'm sure most likely, in this social media age that we live in anyway, I'm probably certain, more than anything, that most airlines have a pretty strict rules about internet usage and social media usage while at work. I'm sure that's the case. Because every airline I've been on, I've seen an air hostess with a phone on their hands. But I don't see them posting pictures of themselves on the plane doing crazy shit. You know? So I guess there is definitely rules around how you use your phone while you're at work. Definitely has to be rules. Definitely has to be quite strict about it, because of people's privacy and just because of the standards of the airline and blah, 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 blah. Because, you know, airlines require you to wear a uniform. They require women to have particular, you know, grooming and makeup things. And think with dudes, the same sort of thing as well. You have to keep your hair a certain length, beard a certain length. So for sure, there is definitely a section in a contract that says, hey, your behavior on social media while at work has to be of this level. If not, then it's gross misconduct and you are capable of getting fired. So she shouldn't be surprised. And even if that isn't the case, even if there are no rules in the contract, if that was me and I was working for an airline, I would be aware of it. I would be just cautious of the idea of, fucking over my potential of being able to work by posting this sort of thing, and I just won't post it. You'd be aware of it. I think even if you didn't know if there was a stipulation, if there was a clause, I don't think most people would run to the internet to post something like this. I don't think they would. I think you'd be very wary of doing so because you have a feeling that this probably isn't the right idea. This probably could end up going badly for me. But she did it anyway, and she cost herself her job, and now she's fucked. And she did the same thing that people think they could do, right? People always think these sort of things are going to work in their favor because the internet is going to feel sympathy for you because you were twerking to a song and shit, and they're going to raise you a lot of money online. But it didn't happen. She raised $261. I think that's proof that the internet wasn't buying her bullshit and that she made the wrong move. And now her lingerie and dessert business that she was hoping to launch is probably going to have to wait a bit. She probably have to wait a little bit for that business to launch. She probably has to wait a little bit. But I guess it is what it is. Big up this post here, courtesy of the vegan on social media that features living in Monaco as a woman. I'm not going to lie. I think there's something really hard about seeing a girl pull out in a fucking crazy luxury car, because you don't usually see this, right? So I think it's way more cooler, way more swaggy when you see a woman pull up in a crazy luxury sports car, like a Ferrari or Porsche, like you see here in Monaco, like that, like looking fabulous in an amazing outfit and stepping out of some crazy car. It just looks a little bit more harder than a dude, because you see dudes do it all the time. But seeing a woman that is pull up in some crazy G-Wagon, right? These crazy whips, like, ooh, this is hard. Bugattis and whatever else it may be in Monaco, this is fucking disgustingly hard. There's nothing not hard about this at all. Some of them are coming out the passenger seat. Oh, this is massive, isn't it? Some of them are fucking coming out the passenger seats, but most of them are coming out of these big body cars in the driver's seat, looking absolutely crazy. I love it. And of course, some of it might be, money that's not theirs, but who gives a fuck? The videos, the visuals look fucking impressive. I love everything about it. I also love the commentators and the spectators. I'm not going to allow it. The spectators who are just oogling and recording all these rich people as they step into their luxury cars and turning that all into a bit of an industry is also pretty cool in itself. I'm not going to lie. I think that's also pretty hard. That it's becoming a little bit of a scene. People gathering around hotels and seeing all these cool, amazing, rich people driving in and out of their fucking crazy cars and using that as bits of content to put on their socials is freaking awesome. I freaking love everything about it. Some of those cars combined value must be in the multi millions. You know what I mean? Crazy amounts of millions that are being spent on these fucking whips, going flipping crazy. Most likely none of these cars crash as well, because although women, people say women can't drive, the best thing about this is that women are very cautious when they drive. So a lot of these cars are in pristine condition. It's probably beneficial if you're in the luxury car business to probably try and buy a luxury car from a female owner. It's probably harder because most of these cars are owned by men. But if you can find a Bugatti, a Range Rover, a Porsche, a Lexus, no, not Lexus, let's say a Lotus or something, right? All these cars from a woman owner, they're probably going to be in far better condition than they were if some dude owned it. You'd imagine. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nada. Moving on. Let's go into some sneaker news. This is courtesy of ComplexSneakers. It features the Air Jordan Band 1, or the Air Jordan 1 Band, that's dropping again in February 14th, Valentine's Day, for $240. Jordan Brand says this version of the retro is as close as ever it's been to the 1985 original. We got an early pair of the 2025 Jordan highs to take a look of it closely. So let's see what ComplexSneakers thinks of this new retro that's going to be dropping on the 14th of February for the Jordan 1 Band 1s, which allegedly is as close to the original as they've ever made them. Let's see what they think of them, and I'm going to give my commentary along the way.
This pair of sneakers is a big deal. It's the pinnacle product celebrating 40 years of Air Jordan. It's the reissue of the black and red banned Air Jordan 1 that's made to look like the original 1985 pair. The Air Jordan 1 High 85 Retro in the black and red colorway is dropping on February 14 for $250. So how does it feel in hand? Not quite like you'd expect. This is
the first thing off bat I would say where it doesn't really look like the OGs is the lack of distressing. I think if you want to make these shoes according to the OG specifications and looks, the reason why we fell in love with the OGs or the vintage pairs is because of the discoloration and the distressing. So I think you need to implement that. It seems counterintuitive because you want to sell new shoes, and I'm sure there's a section of people who don't like yellow stained midsoles, who don't like the leather to look distressed. But I think the point of these shoes is for them to look distressed and to look like the vintage shoes. There's no point in spending all that money in the last, in the shape, and the overall silhouette when they're gonna look like this. It doesn't make sense. Cause I feel like Adidas did the same thing. Adidas, no, I take that back. Adidas didn't do that, did they? Adidas, when they first relaunched their Superstars and Stan Smiths, they released a pair that was aged, but now they have those silhouettes and shapes as the standard size. So I've got a pair of Superstars, skateboarding ones, but they're based on the original kind of shape of how they used to look, right? In terms of the slim silhouette, being really flat along the floor, not having that banana foot styling, but they're brand new. And they didn't make them in a sort of like non-brand new style. So maybe this is the best way to go about it, because maybe in the future, if you then drop all retros, because maybe what they're trying to do is that they want to drop retros in the future and they want people to buy them more. But if you make your retros on the specifications of the elite version, of the OG version, what that shoe looked like, you can maybe justify or force people to spend $250 on them because they know that all Jordan 1s going forward are now going to be this shape. Because I think they're doing the same thing with the Jordan 4 SBs. The Jordan 4 SBs, the Jordan 4 Reimagined is kind of similar to Jordan 4 SBs. But the Jordan 4 Reimagined is a pair that's been based on the original specifications of when the Jordan 4 originally came out, which might have been like 1987. So they're now trying to say that all Jordan 4s coming out now are now based on those shoes. So that would make you more inclined to spend more money on the retro because it's based on a vintage shoe. I think that's what they're trying to do.
This is a different shape and build from what we've seen on previous Air Jordan 1 retros. This is the first Jordan 1 to use this shape. The goal for Jordan Brand was to make it as close to the original silhouette as possible. The first thing you might notice is the leather. This doesn't look like the tumbled leather you've seen on previous premium Jordan 1 releases. It's got a flatter feel and you can't really see the grain. Jordan says it's a higher quality, thicker leather, and the more you wear them, the better it will look.
I like that. Yeah, and to be fair, they do look really good quality leather. It doesn't look as like plasticky and shiny as some of the like Foot Locker GR level Jordan 1s. And Jordan 1s, unfortunately, are bricking. You see a bunch of Jordan 1s on StockX not selling for much. Resale value on Jordan 1s is completely dipped. So if you want to pump up the market and if you want to ensure people purchase them, then force them to pay $250 basically inflates the resale value by default. So that kind of helps. And also you kind of get a higher quality product in the end as well.
Like a leather jacket or an Eames chair. This leather is used exclusively for the 85 Jordan 1 retro. No other Jordans have the same leather. What else is different on the shoe? The midsole on this pair kind of tapers in. There's a new tooling and pattern, so the shape is supposed to be closer to the 1985 original. Jordan went to great lengths to try and make them as OG as possible.
I said it right. I said from the beginning that I felt like Nike in general should be going out of their way to make retros more specifically closer to the OG because they're selling them to sneakerheads like myself anyway. When you make a retro of an Air Stab, of a Structure, of an Air Max Light, you're not making them for GR customers. You're making them for sneakerheads first. So if you're going to do that, then at least make the fucking, like the Air Max Light is one of the most heinous and most terrible retros I've ever seen in my life. That made me kind of lose faith in Nike completely when it comes to Air Max retros. It's so fucking bad compared to the fucking OG. But I think if they would have released a retro of the Air Max Light and charged you $200 for it, but it was more similar to the OG, people would have paid for it gladly. But I think now Nike have lost so many customers, lost so much faith in people, or people have lost so much faith in them. I think it's a little bit too little, too late. And I think now people are way more tighter, are way more conscious of what they're spending on their shoes. So they don't care that this is a reimagined, closer to the OG. All they see is a price tag and they're like, fuck that. Because $250 is a lot of money for a sneaker. You might as well just buy a designer shoe now. You know what I mean? It's like sneakers are starting to enter like sneaker retail prices are starting to go in the direction of like designer shoes. And I feel like designer shoes are pointless. Like it's pointless to purchase like a pair of Balenciagas for £700 when you could just buy a pair of Asics for like 90 or 120. But people are buying them now because they look better or look different and look a bit more wacky compared to the regular sneakers. But now regular sneakers are going to be priced closer to designer shoes. So who's going to buy them?
They even melted down the tongue from an original pair to have a chemist recreate the compound in the nylon. Jordan Brand also worked to get the toe box just right because they know just how picky sneakerheads are about the shape around the toe. If you look closely at an original 1985 Air Jordan 1, you've noticed the swoosh on those has a synthetic material. Same thing here. The swoosh has synthetic leather that's slightly different from what appears elsewhere on the shoe. They tweaked the height too, although the original Jordan 1s were produced in 5 different factories, so their height wasn't always uniform. Why is this Air Jordan 1 so...
To be fair, I think the toe box does look pretty decent. I think the toe box does look pretty good. They didn't really do a like for like. I'm sure we're going to see it, but that toe box there does look quite similar to how it looks in that OG. I'm not going to lie. I think the toe box does look pretty on point. I think that toe box does look on point. And if you know anything about toe boxes on Jordan retros, usually they're always all over the shop. Too pointy, not really too square, just too pointy in some respects. Too much of a bend up front, like that kind of banana fucking foot bend thing going on. But these look fairly flat. I love that the attention to detail. I'm not too sure I believe them about the compound in the tongue that they melt. I'm sure I believe that. But still, the mystery and the story narrative of it is pretty cool.
Same thing here. The swoosh has synthetic leather that's slightly different from what appears elsewhere on the shoe. They tweaked the height too, although the original Jordan 1s were produced in 5 different factories, so their height wasn't always uniform. Why is this Air Jordan 1 so expensive? Jordan Brand says rarity, supply and demand, and the intentionality factored into its $250 price. We've heard the sneaker is going to be limited, so don't expect this Jordan 1 reissue to be easy to get. Now that you've seen what this year's remade Air Jordan 1 retro looks like,
to be fair, I don't mind this. I don't mind that they are trying their best I don't mind that they are trying really hard, let's say to force people to buy shoes because there's so much options there. Because Nike has lost a stranglehold on the sneaker market. There was a point in time where I think even designers, everyone's dream was to work for Nike. But I think nowadays with the prevalence of other brands and the freedom that they give designers, I think some designers would prefer to go work for Saucony, prefer to go work for Asics, New Balance, Reebok even, Umbro, than to go work for Nike and even other, independent sneaker brands, because you get way more freedom. The splits are probably a little bit more advantageous. Maybe it's not such as a crazy non-compete clause. And most importantly, the market has shifted. The market has shifted and now fans don't mind buying shoes from any type of brand. Like you even just see those influencers online and those like content creators who create Jordans and have their own swooshes on the side of it. I forgot what those brands are called, but the prevalence of those type of brands is basically showing you that people don't care if the shoes are fake. They don't care if they're rip-offs, if they're copies or whatever. They just want different options and they like the color that these designers are doing. So the stranglehold is gone. So I think the customers that they would want for this type of shoe aren't as limitless as they were in the past. I think those customers are gone elsewhere. I think those customers now are buying designer shoes. I think they're buying copies from other designers. I think they're buying other brands. But I think that person who was willing, like I was back in the day, to say, hey, Nike, if you make a faithful retro of the Air Max 1, if you make a faithful retro of the Air Max 90, if you make it to spec, I'm willing to pay £200 for this, £300 for that. I think that customer's gone now. They don't give a fuck. They'll wear whatever retro is made, they'll wear it, but if not, they'll go to another brand. But they're not going to spend this much amount of money because they're spending that money on other brands, on other things. So I think as good as this is, unfortunately, it feels like a little bit too little too late. It really does feel like that. Even though I do like what they've done, I love the attention to detail. I probably will try and end up getting a pair myself. But I think overall, as this is an experiment, as an approach, it's probably a little bit too late. They should have done this way sooner. They purposely didn't do this. I feel like Jordan Brand have always been a little bit purposely obtuse and a bit cunty to the sneakers community anyway. I feel like I've seen people suggest what I've suggested in the Nike Talk forums back in the day, Soul Collector forums back in the day, and people from Jordan Brand always kind of, turn their nose up at those kind of advice or recommendations. But now the numbers are not numbering, and the sales are down across the board at Nike. They're now scrambling, and they're now doing a lot more fan service, a lot more, answering the request of the fans and trying to give them what they want. But I think this is a little bit too little too late, in my personal opinion. But hey, let's see how it plays. Let's see how it works. Interested to see if we're going to see more colorways of this going forward. But that's a big release. I think the first big release of Jordan brand for this year. I think there's a bunch of other Jordans coming out this year in terms of retros that are also going to be things that people are going to be super, 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 super into. So let's see how it plays out. Let's see how it plays out. Continuing on, let's talk about this again. Big up Clint, big up Corteiz. So carrying on from the last episode, what I said regarding Corteiz and this design competition, it seems like a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say about this, but so far it seems like this is pretty cool. It seems like it's a pretty cool thing that he's done now, because how it's ended wasn't how it started. So if you remember when I was talking in the last podcast, Clint had started this competition in response to criticism. And the narrative that we saw online was that Clint was impervious to criticism. It seemed like he was very thin-skinned. Somebody called him out and said his designs are terrible. No, they said designs are a bit boring and a bit repetitive or something. And then he replied back and said, well, you try and design a 10-piece collection. Here's a challenge. You got an hour or whatever it may be, right? Which kind of came across a bit cunty, which kind of came across a bit rude, which kind of came across a bit pretentious, which just came across a little bit bad. People didn't like it. And the other argument I saw online was people arguing that Clint was using these competitions and dangling this prize money over people's heads and making them submit these challenges or these designs in the hopes of stealing their designs, which I thought was really wrong and just missed the boat completely, because number one, he's not forcing anybody to do this. Number two, it takes 2 minutes to knock up some of these designs. I've done the same sort of thing, similar line sheets and stuff on Photoshop and shit. It doesn't take long to do so. If you're plugged in and you know what you're doing and you're creative yourself, it's fairly easy to knock out some designs on these platforms and get them out there. So it's not that difficult, especially if you've been waiting for me to remember this whole entire time. And in the entire time that I've been aware of Corteiz and I've been aware of Clint 419, I don't think I've seen one instance where he's stolen designs. If somebody's won, he's mad. I don't know if I've seen him implement it in his line, but it's always been a case of here's a cash prize. So this narrative that he's stealing designs or making people work for free is nonsense, because it's a competition. If anything, this feels more like a prize fund. In arts, they have prize funds where you can enter and you can basically win a prize, whether it's a studio for rent, studio that's rent free, whether it's unlimited, whether it's materials of a certain value, whether it's money that can go towards your art, that can then go towards an exhibition. But these are things that happen all the time. These funds, right, for underprivileged people, or usually just for artists in general to get kind of get your name out there. But I guess because Clint himself isn't the most likable person online, that's why people don't really have the most favorable thing to say about it. And I think he's aware of it. I think that's part of the brand, that's part of the marketing, part of the allure, is that he's not the most likable person. He doesn't come across the most likable in his pictures or whatever, or how he talks and says certain things. But I think when you listen to him speak, clearly a very smart young man and shit, clearly somebody that's very accomplished, clearly somebody that's got some good opinions on the industry, on design, on whatever else it may be. But unfortunately, the way he comes across on social, people don't tend to like it, which is why they look at everything he does with a little bit of hate, with a little bit of dark tinted glasses, because he doesn't come across the most the most warmest or the most kindest and shit. But I think the end of this competition is fucking amazing, because in the end, what happened was this: in the end, he selected 4 people who were the best of the bunch, and then he put the 4 people as a shortlist for the fans to vote. That's the thing I didn't know. I thought he was going to choose a winner himself, but this was actually a fan voted thing. So the fans were able, or the people online on social media who've been following this drama from when it began to now, were able to vote on who they thought was the best person. And he had the top 4. He had this person called Kalish Buna, more wins win. Someone called May 4R and someone called Shay PTR. And then there was a first prize, which was £5,000. Second prize was £1,000. Third prize was a pair of Corteiz Air Max 95s from his personal archive. And the fourth prize was £250 in Corteiz store credit. So when you click the pictures, actually, the short list of the 4 was really strong. Really fucking strong. Really strong here. You got that Kalash Buna guy with some really good stuff here. I love his Inter Milan Boca Juniors inspired jersey here on the side. That also gives a little bit of I don't know how to describe it. What the Lonsdale as well with the logo. That's pretty nice. The tracksuit here is also pretty hard, as is that down jacket. So really good stuff. That Corteiz t-shirt logo design also is really freaking nice. And then also you've got here the other one too by More Wins Win, who's probably my favorite, to be honest, especially that camo tracksuit design here. Definitely one of my favorite designs here. That varsity was super tough, as was that denim suit and that tracksuit. The whole thing was fucking hard. The other person is called May 4. They also put out some good shit. The tracksuits on their ones was really cool. The standout piece in this person's designs was definitely this Arsenal flip. This Arsenal 98 90s jersey flip as well was fucking hard. This yellow one, as was the matching tracksuit. Really fucking cool. And then the last person here is Shay PTR. They had a really nice tracksuit, which I liked the best. That tracksuit there was also really hard, as was this set with the matching jacket in pink that was quilted, with also the matching trousers and this jersey as well. Really so really strong. In the end, the person who won, if we scroll down here, in the end, the winner, courtesy of the public vote, was May 4R. They won. And then the person who came second was More Wins Win. And then the person who came third was Shay PTR. Person who came last was Kalash Buna. But yeah, May 4R, which is C. This person here was a winner. This person ended up winning £5,000, which is pretty cool, because I think Clint says himself he started Corteiz with £500. So let's see and give this person 5,000. And it's got confirmation here, a screenshot of the payment that had been made to the person. And the really interesting thing about it, which is really cool, is this. In a way, if you think about it, he's kind of sponsoring and funding his competition. Because a lot of these kids, you know, have really cool ideas, and he's not even doing this to like hire them in his brand, which is the logical thing. The logical thing for most people to do, or the easy thing to do, would be to just hire these kids and have them design for you. But he's kind of trying to put a battery in their back and encouraging them to be their own entrepreneurs, to be their own bosses, and to use that money to fund their dreams. Like, hey, I did it with 500. Here's 5,000. Go run and do your thing. So if you want to spend it yourself and spend it whatever, cool. But the notion is that, hey, I'm trying to inspire people to, like, you know, get motivated to design and put their ideas out. Because I was saying before, I've got plenty of really cool merch ideas, streetwear ideas and stuff, logos on my Lacy drive that I've done and I've designed over a number of years. I'm sure other people are the same. You always procrastinate, never deliver, never fucking ship, never actually make the physical product. But designing stuff on Photoshop can be quite fun. So imagine how gratifying it can be to design a collection for a brand like Corteiz, enter this competition, win 5,000, but also get all the validation, all the encouragement of people on social media who are liking the post, leaving nice comments, saying how much they like your designs. And then that could encourage you to be like, you know what, I'm actually going to give it a go, and put your money where your mouth is and put your money behind your designs and go from there, because the UK market needs it, man. There's not a lot of good brands out there. Like, think about it. Like, Corteiz is probably on an island by itself. Like, I'm not really the biggest fan of Trapstar and what they do, but Trapstar and Corteiz are probably at the pinnacle when it comes to UK independent streetwear brands. There's not a lot of brands who are competing with them. And a lot of them they're basically doing the same shit. It's all tracksuits and sweatsuits and shit. It's all kind of boring. So he's trying to push people to design with Corteiz in mind in this competition, because they do a good job of offering way more than just sweats and tracksuits. They also offer like varsity jackets, a full breadth of like menswear, streetwear stuff you can buy. Denim suits, t-shirts, jerseys, hats, bags, underwear. So that makes you design under that kind of remit, which is then going to make you think a little bit outside the box and take more risks. Because if you just were trying to compete and trying to take part, you just design a tracksuit because everyone else designs tracksuits. But you're trying to push people a bit further to do a bit more. And you're seeing that with the level of output that's been put for this competition is fucking crazy. The level of design that's been put there. But I think you're only seeing this because they're doing it to win the Corteiz prize, because they know the brand itself offers a full collection. Like, you can dress in Corteiz head to toe, which is probably, I think, the goal for every brand designer, is to get to the level, or every streetwear designer, is to get to a level where you can design from head to toe. So most likely, I won't be surprised if in the future we see them go into the lane of doing footwear, they probably want to do the whole thing. Like, I want to have a full head to toe Corteiz collection designed in-house, from hats to scarves to jackets to t-shirts to jeans to socks to underwear to fucking shoes and footwear and shit. So I think they already do it now because they have footwear. They have like those quilted slippers and shit that are similar to what North Face do. I think they kind of do footwear now, but I'll be surprised if in the future they actually go down that way and start making their own shoes. I think that's definitely something I could definitely end up seeing. But I think in the end it worked out pretty well. The person won 5,000. The second prize person won $1,000. The other person won shoes. The other person won store credit. So I think it works out pretty well. I think the designers got some encouragement. I think people got to see how it was to design that sort of thing. You also got to see live feedback from Clinton himself to telling people what was good and what wasn't good. And I think the naysayers, I think, are now seeing that in the end it was a wholesome thing. It started out pretty negative, I think, because it did kind of show he has a bit of soft skin, he has a bit of thin skin in his inability to accept criticism. But I think in the end it kind of benefited everybody. The designers got some encouragement, they got to step out and design again, and the fans got to see how collections are put together, how quickly they can be put together, and also maybe the birth of a new brand maybe coming up very soon. You never fucking know. So that's pretty cool to see. So big up Clint, big up Corteiz. You love to see it. You freaking love to fripping see it. I think that was it. And obviously the best post about it was definitely the one at the end was my favorite one, right? Where's my favorite one? This is the one here. This is my favorite one because I don't know if people online, I think it's because if you're not liked, I think everything that you do is misinterpreted. So this is obviously a troll. 2026 looking good, thank you. And it features Clint sat in front of a wall that features all these designs, right? All the designs for the competition. So clearly this is him trolling. Clearly it's him taking the piss, saying, hey, this is all my ideas for free. But people don't know, are not giving him the benefit of the doubt because they just don't like the guy. But which is, understandable, because I think even he himself, like I said, knows how he comes across maybe a little bit hard to like online, hard to root for. But I also think this is clearly a troll. This guy's not being serious. Please, let's relax a little bit. Maybe be able to laugh. Maybe, imbue a sense of humor in yourself if you can, possibly, because this is definitely most likely a troll. Because I've not seen one occasion where he's done this in the past, where he's taken people's designs in the competition and used them for himself to, kind of fund his brand. That isn't the case. That hasn't happened. People need to chill out. People need to chill out. But who am I to say that? Who am I to say that? Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's say the following. This is the following. So, Salomon and Sandy Liang reconnect on an XP Whisper. So, Salomon are still out here going strong. They're not laying off the collabs. They're not laying off the shoes. They're not laying off the branding, everything else going on. And they've got another shoe here, courtesy of the designer, Sandy Liang, which I really like. I'm liking that a lot of these female designers, when they do collaborations, are purposely doing a female version of a shoe instead of trying to make their shoe as unisex as possible or try and make it look as male as possible. I quite like this. I'm not going to lie. I think it kind of makes collaborations a little bit more interesting to look at without them ending up looking the same, especially Salomon collaborations. So I like that this particular collab looks like it's been made by obviously a female designer, in that it's pink with the red, with some of the accents, with some of the material choices. I think it just mixes it up and makes it look a little bit better than if it was a conventional men's style of a shoe or interpretation of it as well. Although I do think a lot of dudes are going to want to wear this because it does look really fucking hard. And I think the Whisper version of the Salomon also is a little bit different to the regular XTs that we've seen people wear. I think it's a little bit less bulky, it looks like, has less eyelets, and just looks a little bit different. I don't know. I quite like it. I really like the model. I love the side of it, actually. That side wiggle motif here, panel on the side, looks really fucking cool. The addition of the red sole as well looks really fucking fresh. I really freaking like this. I'm not going to lie. I really, really like these. There's another picture of them too. There's also got some Sandy Liang branding also on the tongue, which is really nice. You don't always get that on collaborations, but I think this adds a little bit of extra kick to the collab. This nice strip here in the middle. That's really cool. What else have we got here? Another picture of them. And then a couple. Oh, there's also some 3M too, which is nice. I didn't see there's some 3M detailing on the eyelets, which is also pretty decent too. It makes them light up like cat's eyes on the pavement or on the roads, on the highways and shit. Yeah, I like them. I think they look really cool. I think that these definitely end up selling out, I'd imagine. And I'm sure there's some clothing as well attached to it. So let's read the blurb. It says Sandy Liang and Salomon are reuniting for the third time just in time for Fashion Month. The duo have teamed up to offer the joint reimagining of the Salomon's XT Whisper silhouette brought back from its Athletic Outfitters archives just last month. The XP Whisper is one of my favorite silhouettes from Salomon's archives, and I love the challenge of reimagining it for a fresh, modern lens, says Sandy Liang. The collaborative design reflects my love for outdoor adventures, paired with practicality and ease of my everyday life. Liang's reworking the Sandy Liang's lens with the cool girl imprint, love for the pastel palette with the silhouette dipped in all over pink, fairy tale hues, hits of soft hits of silver elevated with sleek designs. It also features a sense lift application and a quick lace system in typical places. Salomon revived the XP Whisper from the archives back in December, introducing the old but new silhouette alongside the opening of the New York City storefront. So let's actually see. I want to see what the other colorways of it look like, because that model is really nice. It's a very sleek, very slender silhouette. Oh, look at the other colorways. Oh, I like this. Yeah, I'm not mad. I think the XT Whisper might be my new model. My new favorite Salomon model. That's a very nice shoe. Look at that. I even like that colorway. That silver colorway here on Amazon is really nice. This gray and green one is also really cool. So I'm assuming we're probably going to see way more XT Whispers. That's out of stock. That's a really nice shoe model. That white and red one's really nice. So I think we're probably going to see way more XT models. And that blue's also nice. Be releasing next year. This is the model they're trying to push out there for people. So yeah, I like this. I even like that green one there. That green one's really nice here. That's probably a retro that was put out recently. So the XT Whisper is a really nice model, really nice shape. It's a bit different to the XT6, which is the one that everybody's wearing, right? Which is this one, the XT6, I think is that. So I think it's a lot more, it's a lot more sleeker than the XT6. It's a lot less masculine looking as well, I would say. So it's a really nice model. So I'm really eager to see. These definitely did sell out, didn't they? Were they available? They're available to buy at Sandy Liang on the 16th and also available to buy on Salomon on the 23rd. Let's check Sandy Liang. I'm sure they're probably sold out. Let's see. I have a feeling they're sold out though. That's the first banner. Let's go to new arrivals. Are they available or sold out? Are they still available? Okay. Let's click the pair. $150. Are they still available? Okay, it's a raffle. It's a raffle, my bad. It's a raffle. Limited edition collaboration with Salomon. Breathable, lightweight sports shoe. Lugged outsole featuring quick lacing system. Please follow UK sizing. Raffle is open from the 16th at 9 a.m. and will close at 9 p.m. So I still got time to open. I can still enter the raffle, can't I? I have to put my address and shit on here. Maybe I'll enter it live. It's closing in 12 hours. Can I enter this without having to put my address and shit? Let's see. Let me enter now. Oh, you have to pay for it now. That's annoying if they have to pay for it now. Let's see. Okay, cool. Let me actually. I'm actually gonna enter this raffle. I'm actually gonna enter this raffle live because I want to see if I can win a pair. Because I actually like them. Let's see if they're available. And let's see. I'm gonna sign up to EQL. Let me sign up to EQL. I'm gonna do my size, which I'm gonna say. Let me do UK 11. Let me just be smart. Let me do a UK 11. Even though I'm not too sure. I usually wear UK 10, but let me do UK 11. Let me put my email address on here. Let's let them use me a strong password. Let's put my number on here too. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, let's enter this bad boy. Let's see what I go on. Let's enter this bad boy and see if this is a vibe or not. And then maybe if I win, I'll be able to go back to this video and say, hey, look, remember? I was live entering this thing. So let's see it rock. Let's put the birthday in here as well. Actually, let's just write it on here. Let's do that too. Let's make sure this works out. Okay. Let's press continue. Boom. Password saved. Let's put my delivery address on here as well. Bish bash bosh. Let's continue that also. No thanks. Payment card. Well, okay, you're not gonna take payment now. Cool. I thought they're gonna take payment right now. I'm about to say, god damn it. Okay, cool. They're not gonna take payment now. Let's autofill my card details. Make sure it's verified. Cool. Boom. Let's put my what's my fucking CVC? I don't remember that off by heart, do I? Unfortunately, man, don't remember that shit off by heart like a fucking idiot. Let's see what my CVC is. What is it? Okay. Bish bash bosh. Oop, that's there and it's right. No, where is it? Yeah, it's it. I think it's that. Yep, that's my CVC. And then my postcode is in there. Let's click and agree the terms. No marketing material, please. And boom. Let's freaking go. Okay, we've entered. Let's see if I get a pair. Let's see if I'm able to get a pair. Submitting your entry. Let's wait for it to load. Let's wait for it to load. Hopefully it loads. Can't bear with me. Submitting my order. How long are you going to take, man? How long is this going to take? So it takes just as long to raffle as it takes to queue up inside of a store. Raffling and queuing up exactly the same amount of time. Yeah, is that what it's doing now? It takes just as long to queue up as does the raffle. Fucking hell. This may take a minute. Do not refresh the page. Okay, can I just move on, please? And I'll just come back next time. Yeah, cool. It's refreshing behind the scenes, but it should be fine. Did it do a little card check on my account? Yeah, I did a card check. It should be fine. It should be fine. So, yeah, I have entered. We shall see if I am the winner of this particular thing. Let's see what I'll go on. Let's actually go back to the Sandy Liang page anyway and see the product listing and the images, courtesy of a white background, because we didn't see the image properly. So this is the shoes. They've also launched some other. That's good merchandising, by the way. They launched this shoe, but they also launched some other shit that's tied in with the shoe. So some other clothing, Sandy Liang clothing, pink hoodies, and loads of other pink related shit that you could easily wear with the shoe itself, which is a good idea. Because you're always going to get some people buying who are going to be on your store site who probably would never buy Sandy Liang anyway. So you might as well get them to purchase other bits and bobs as well. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I love the pink design of it. The silver bits on it as well look really, really nice. Definitely a shoe that I'll definitely wear. So let's see if I'm lucky enough. I've entered. Let's see if I'm lucky enough now that I have entered. Fingers crossed, fingers and toes freaking crossed. Next, let's talk about this one. This particular pair of Jordans here, courtesy of Hypebeast. The first look at the Jordan 4 Forget Me Not Mother's Day themed colorway. Actually a really nice one again for the ladies, in this baby blue color with the updated Jordan 4 shape. What I like the most about it though is the eyelets and this type of flowery design thing on the laces. I think this is a nice addition. I've seen a couple of Air Max 95s with this sort of design on it. I think this gives it a nice little pop. And you also usually don't see Jordan 4s in this nice flowery bubbly type of design. So I do like that they're doing this. I like that they're taking more chances, and I don't know, maybe some badges, maybe some stickers, whatever, maybe some accoutrements I think will look really good on this Jordan 4. So it's, again, nothing that I will purposely wear, but I do think these look really, really cute and really, really nice. So definitely one for the female lady sneakerheads out there. This is really fucking nice. And again, maybe it's a little bit cliche because it's a baby blue poppy kind of colorway, but I do think it's really nice and kind of separates itself from the regular shit that you're going to see out there on the shelves, courtesy of Jordan Brand. So these are going to be available on May 3rd, and they're going to be retailing at $200 when they do eventually come out. Forget Me Not Jordan 4s. This pair has is that a collaboration? Who's Forget Me Not? I don't know who that is, but regardless, they look fucking hard. So please do check them out if you're that way inclined. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about as well was this regarding Stussy and Denim Tears. New collaboration coming up very soon. Looks really, really hard so far. You got a pair of, I think these are chinos. You got a long sleeve polo top that looks kind of like polo that's got Jamaica Heights on it. It looks really nice. You got a really cool camo bag here, I think, and also some a Stussy logo with the double S's and a circle that has the cotton reef design on the inside, which is really cool way to combine both logos. And also you got Stussy Tears here written on the collar, which is pretty decent. I love that iconography, and it's a good tie-in as well, because I'm sure I remember hearing Tremaine say he used to work at he used to work at Stussy back in the day. So I think this is a really nice tie-in to have this there. And you also have a design here, t-shirt with Denim Tears as well, link up. So this is due to come out soon. I've not seen the official release as to when it is due to come out, but courtesy of Over and Under, and obviously some pictures here courtesy of Hypebeast, we have an image of what it's going to end up looking like. And the Stussy Denim Tear stuff does end up looking up pretty decent, so I don't mind that in the slightest. And then we also want to feature this regarding J Balvin. Unveil the first ever G-Shock collaborations. I'm usually not the biggest fan of J Balvin's collaborations when it comes to sneakers. I think they're a little bit too corny for me, But since I've been wearing my G-Shock a lot more often these days, and I'm back into wearing watches in general, like that in general, not fancy designer ones, but like, you know, regular G-Shocks, I really fucking like these. This is really nice. It's almost like a glow-in-the-dark, translucent G-Shock that kind of reminds me of how electronics used to look back in the day in the 90s and shit and early 2000s. So that's a pretty decent design, but it also looks like it glows in the dark. So it's not only translucent and see-through, it also glows in the dark, which is pretty fucking cool. I think that's the case anyway. It's got some J Balvin insignia on the back of the watch as well. It's got his branding, I guess, his signature there. It also comes in black, which is the boring one. No one cares about that one. But that lime green yellow one is the best one. Hold on, do you have to buy two? Is there two included in the box? Do I see two there, or is that just a design? I don't know if you have to buy two, or does it come two in a pack? But that's pretty cool, and it's got the Thunderbolt logo on the backlight of the watch itself. But it looks like it glows in the dark. I think it glows in the dark, or maybe it's just translucent. Either way, it looks pretty cool. Courtesy of Hypebeast, it says, J Balvin unveils his first ever G-Shock collaboration, the G-Shock DW560JB189 Time Matters box set collaboration. So I think it might be two. So it says here, Casio and G-Shock are officially joining forces to release a collaborative box set. The Colombian artist and lifelong G-Shock fan is venturing into the world of horology. Horology sounds like you're being a whore. Horology. Okay, horology is the first ever collaboration of G-Shock, one of the world's biggest Latin artists, aka the Prince of Reggaeton, is dropping a limited edition box set which features a G-Shock series. The title Time Matters, the box set, returns with a black bezel band set. It's interchangeable with a translucent matte yellow. Okay, cool. So it's a box set, so you can change it. So you can change the face and the straps. Okay, interesting. On the face of the watch reads Maji, his single from the album Jose. J Balvin music motifs continue with the lightning logo. The same lightning bolts are seen in the cutout shapes on the band. The original DW560 watch is constructed with carbon gore guard case with durability, expected to retail at 200. Ooh, that's a lot though, isn't it? $230 for a G-Shock is a lot. $230 is a lot for a G-Shock. Release date has not yet been revealed. So it's a really nice watch, don't get me wrong. Collaborations are fucking sick. Translucent, maybe also glows in the dark, but I'm not too sure if the $300 markup is warranted, you know? So I guess this is how you can exchange the straps. So it's got like an easy strap release to exchange the straps here designs. It's got this little lever that you can pull. The strap comes off. You can have one side green, one side black, or switch them interchangeably. But I guess you get two in a pack. So you get two watches for $230, which maybe isn't that bad, isn't it? Maybe. Or maybe you get you get one watch and you get straps in the box. Yeah, so I think if you buy the black one, you get the neon green straps. If you buy the black, if you get a neon green one, you get the black straps. Yeah, I think that's what they do. I don't think it's two watches. I think it's one watch, two straps in one box. So yeah, I'm not mad at that in the slightest. Okie dokie. Moving on. Let's talk about Nigel Sylvester. Nigel Sylvester. Big up Nigel Sylvester. I'm a big fan of his, really, really big fan of his. I love the work that he's been doing with Jordan Brand, specifically on these particular shoes, which are absolutely hard. They are the Nigel Sylvester Air Jordan Brick by Brick, Jordan 4s. Essentially, I think they're based on the same silhouette as the Jordan 4 SBs, so a little bit more slimmed down, but then they've got some reinforcement on certain bits on the upper. Now, me off the bat, I'm saying Nigel Sylvester being the amazing BMXer that he is at the moment, or that he's always been, I feel like, considering what he's done for Nike, considering the levels that he does on BMXing and shit, and his notoriety, I've always felt like he deserves his own Nike, his own pro model, not a retro. He also deserves to have his own line and him be the spearhead of it. So if Nike have Nike Bike, they should make that. They shouldn't be having him sucked into Jordan Brand. I think it's a bit of a cop-out. I think it doesn't really highlight or push him as much. And I think it's easy. It's cheating. Because people are always going to buy Jordan 4s because it's one of the popular designs that Nike's ever made. Big up Tinker Hatfield. But I think it's way more of a risk to get him to design his own pro model and to get him to push it. But also there's way more glory involved because he gets to have his own shoe, you know? In the same way that Janoski's, you know, in SBs, people with SBs in general get their own pro model. I think Nigel Sylvester deserves his own pro model, but I also like what he does with these Jordans. I think he's killed it. I don't think I've seen a single Jordan retro that he's done where he's not fucking killed it. And I think this particular color, where he's got these all red basically, you know, Red October-esque Jordan 4s are really hard. I love the addition of the mudguard swoosh, which you don't usually get on Jordan 4s, to make them look a little bit similar to like Air Maxes or, you know, Nike sneakers in the past, in the early 2000s. I love the fact that he's applied a different material on the mudguard, maybe to help with when you're riding or having your shoes in the grip, in the clips or in the straps and stuff, or when you're braking and stuff as well. That may be a part of the reason, because if I'm not mistaken, this isn't like a suede. It doesn't look like a suede. It looks like another material. Maybe it's like a grip tape material. I'm not sure what material it is on the front here, but I love this different style, this different material choice on the mudguard, different material choice on the midsole here, on some of the toe box area. I think this is mostly nubuck, and then you've got these nice flat laces. I think the inner sole is, I'm not going to say this leather or silk. I think it's just a regular inner sole. And then you've got a nice breakup in terms of the red with this white bit here at the midsole, because it always could have been all red, but I think this break actually makes it look nicer. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if you added white laces, these also look nice. So you can lace slit these by wearing white laces and it'll look just as nice, but I think the red ties in really well. And it's a kind of a, again, it's a brick red, less of a red, less of a Red October red and more of a brick red, which looks really fucking cool. Again, look, he looks decent with the white laces, but I think the way to go is definitely the red laces there. So they look really fucking nice. I don't mind them at all. I love the style. I love even, especially the heel design with the back saying Bike Air. That's probably one of the best things they've done. But again, I think he deserves his own pro model instead of Jordan 4. I think that's cheating. I think they should take a risk and actually design a shoe from scratch, from the ground up. I'd love to see what they did. Even if they based it on the silhouette of a Jordan 4, I'd love to see his own version of a Jordan 4, you know, designed from the ground up. But I do like the Bike Air edition here on the heel tab. And again, looked really fucking hard. Really fucking nice shoe. Really, 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 really nice shoe. That's going to be available when? So, March 14th. They've actually got a date. So they're going to be releasing on March 14th. Release price is $225. Again, Jordans aren't cheap these days, isn't it? Jordan are not cheap these days. And then he also launched during the release of these apparel launch. So this is all tied in with the release of the shoes. So he did an apparel launch with a runway show. So he's got his own collection tied in with Jordan Brand, which is probably the reason why they sucked it in. I always think they do this to kind of fudge the numbers. I feel like they used to fudge the numbers, or because it's easier. So instead of giving him his own shoe, instead of giving him his own division or having a separate Nike bike division, they do this via Jordan Brand to basically inflate the fucking numbers, and because it's easier to do. Basically, you know, it's just a retro, essentially. It's not really a pro model, even though he deserves a pro model. And then you can also fudge the numbers and make it seem like Jordan Brand is doing a lot better than what it is. So this is the Jordan Brand apparel bike, brick by brick, Nigel Sylvester collection. You got a nice jacket. Again, I'm not really the biggest fan of wearing Jordan clothing. I'm not gonna lie. I like the shoes, but the Jordan clothing, you can really pass with that sort of shit. But some of it looks pretty decent. But again, I don't really understand what the Jordan logo has to do with BMXing. But hey, I guess they're gonna say back in the day, people that rode BMX used to wear Jordans. Yeah, we get it, but give him his pro shoe, man. Give him his pro shoe. I like the bike logo on the swoosh. I think that's pretty cool. But I just think it looks naff saying bike with the Jordan logo. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Just a very incongruent and all over the place. But the jackets are pretty nice to wear. They look pretty hard. I do like the jackets, I'm not gonna lie. I like that it's got the fastening here on the back of the hood to make the hood kind of cinch in a little bit so it can stay on your head while you're walking around town doing your urban exploration. The Jordan Brand boxer things is very naff and very corny, I'm not gonna lie. What else has got that? The styling on it is awful, by the way. The styling of the shoe is really disgusting. Are those elbow pads? Ugh, garbage. Like, this is so shit. The jacket is nice, but without these, it's elbow pads. I don't know the elbow pads or vents, but I think they're elbow pads. Yeah, these are fucking horrible. Look at the styling. Like, what is this? Who did the casting for this? Like, who are these people? Like, what is this? Why does he have? Why is he not wearing a top underneath his shirt? Like, jacket. Like, what is this? Ugh, that jersey is so ugly, man. So ugly. The kerning. Is it kerning? I think it's called. Whatever, when you slant the letters. The slant on these on this looks really bad. Looks like they need to do it again. Maybe someone fucked up the angles or something on Photoshop, but it kind of looks like the B is less slanted than the other letters. Maybe it's the angle itself. It looks very AliExpress. It looks very fucking cheap. The kit, like, and he's wearing is that a motorcycle helmet? Why is there a motorcycle helmet for a BMX collection? So he's trying to do like motorcycle, you know, scrambler aesthetic, right? Fox racing aesthetic, but it's based on it's a BMX collection. What? And those trousers are too wide and flared to be wearing with those when you ride BMX, to be honest. Don't understand it in the slightest. Again, just loads of stolen valor. Like, why are you wearing a motorcycle helmet with a full visor and shit and massive chunky motorcycle gloves to BMX? Why doesn't he have more sleek gloves? More like, you know, Fox racing, like, you know, racing gloves and shit. Why is all the pants so flared when you're not going to wear these type of pants on your BMX because it's going to get chewed up in the pedals and shit? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, this was horrible. This is so bad. Like, what's that bandana on that t-shirt? Like, what is this? Who styled this? Who cast this? Look at this t-shirt. So ugly. Bike Air, brick by brick. Air Jordan, imagine, look, yuck. Too many different fonts. Too many, like, three different fonts. So 4 different fonts on the same shirt with one logo. One bold, one not bold, one bold and italic. Yeah, no thank you. This is so awful. The apparel collection is so bad. The casting is all over the place. The styling is horrendous. The only good thing to come out of it is the shorts. Sorry, is the shoes. Look at the shorts. When you unzip it, it says bike, brick by brick. Yuck. He's got shorts that you need. So he's got flared shorts. Shorts that you unzip to make them flared. Or to make them slimmer. What? Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. There's leggings. Yeah, this might be the best look, that look number 1, but I hate the elbow pads. This whole thing is terrible. This whole collection is terrible, unfortunately. But I like the shoes. So big up Nigel Sylvester. The shoes are fucking fantastic, but the collection is terrible. And then there's also another pair of shoes that he debuted that he might have leaked, which people are saying this is a Photoshop mock-up, but they're saying that this shoe here featured in this collab, in this lookbook. This shoe here featured here with this helmet design might be a retro of this Jordan Red Fire Red. The Jordan 4 Fire Red might be also a Bike Air shoe to come in the future. This is what they're saying, which I think might be the case. So let's see when that happens. But for me, I'm not the biggest fan of it. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Cool. Let's talk about M. Huncho. M. Huncho's got a new track out at the moment. That's going to be my song of the day. This is how I'm going to end the show today. M. Huncho's got a song called 1054 that I've been absolutely banging and rinsing. And he was also featured on a BALAMII set, on a BALAMII, not BALAMII, BALAMII, right? That's how you pronounce it. BALAMII set with a few other of his dogs, which was fucking hard. I'm going to play. But I really recommend you check out M. Huncho, one of my favorite artists. He's got a new single out called 1054. But this is a feature of some clips of him shelling during a BALAMII set, which I think was absolutely incredible. So check this out. This will be the last topic for the day. This is M. Huncho. The caption says M. Huncho alongside Just Banco, alongside Kilo Jug, alongside the Young King, somebody called G-Dup, Official, GSO, Trez-O, and Quincy Tellum. Let's play it.
I like bad bitches with short hair, I can't pull that, so I grab that. I'm in Narnia, Aslan, I don't back and forth like Grand Slams. Hit the roads when the pack lands, go yard on my man bag. Styly with a gangnam, Rob man, Van Damme, I like Bay Nicks with a back man. You don't really understand man, and it's fine. I put 2 spliffs in the air, never on time. We gon' shine. I'm with Listo, sipping lean, talking about grinds. I told Figzo that he's next up online. Yeah, we gon' shine. I'm with Zeno in the car, yeah, it's for life. I'm in my prime now, why would I sign out? I ain't talking about no fucking churches when the 9's out. My brother with me, you can fuck around and find out. Yeah, fuck around and find out. Yeah. I like bad bitches with short hair, I can't pull.
No baby boy like Tyrese, give it to the cats like Siamese. New packs, try these, first got me spinning around like Kylie. My no, top of the tops got hot with the crops, nice or chill. Take a detour up in God's Hill, whitewash 4-0, hope she took the mom pill. I only have to be perfect, get the pack and I work it. Back at your service with a bag of the sherbet, why you bagging it nervous? Hands on, hands off, whipping up the Jack Frost, plug say packed off. One packed in, T-pack mad things, not for my black skin. Snowfall, Franklin, Bedford gambling. You can't get a hand in or a hand out. Don't work the line if you stand out. Don't care what your friends say. Shit, I need a hand like Wednesday.
Big up, big up.
No baby boy like Tyree.
My niggas demons will send you to hell. I got one wish that's spending it well. K's in LA and he's sending me mail. And these J's took 23 L's. But I took double the W's, T's with the brown, that's Keenan and Kel. Fizz on the base for Mini Martell. Got tats on my face like I'm in a cartel. Betty and Anna's, I just gotta read. Look at the banner, it's still G&G. Cutting up rackies and smoking on weed.
Too hard.
My niggas
Too hard.
My nigga took a chip for the bag and now he's missing. And if you're talking pins, made a killing off the feeling. So it's one click for the button and you know the other. And she can't stay up in my house at LMA, you must be tripping. Cause yeah, she love to talk and niggas licking. Three niggas in the, we on a mission. Yeah, if we hear a siren, then we dipping. And when it comes to women, yeah, we only picking bad bitches, only nothing else, you must be kidding. And she ain't listening to any other nigga, cause they capping when they spitting, yeah, she hey, boogie, we just swerving. The niggas try to cross me, carry herb. And my baby phone Janet, but she better rap. Yeah, the shit gone, yeah, you know we just working. And if she ain't bad, then no way that she perfect for me. Yeah, you know we playing for keeps. Up and down the Emma, I'm just listening to trees. Got the baddest of the bees. No, I ain't fucking shit. Now she took my
favorite bit.
My nigga took a chip for
That's my favorite bit.
They ain't wishing me well.
Start with a right tone. Need petty for the ride home. Don't call me, that's the white phone. Smoke like cyclones, buy whips, buy phones, buy nicks, buy stones. New kicks, that's John Jones. Come on. Hey.
Yo, I told my God I'm needing therapy. My man's so fucked right now, can't kick that cop, but I know it'll bear me. I don't know these youths, why the fuck are they trying to get features and trying to get next to me? I just put an arcade in a condo, walking, think that you're in a dispensary. Yeah, LAS trying to tap in with cookies. I'm needing a TP link, so I flew private just to see if it could be. Remember how down I was trapping, losing my money on bookies. I had guys trying to help with the music thing and told me where it could be, but never showed me where it would be. I got no trust. They say that they got me as different, man got evicted, they left me in dust. I signed out for a bit like host, nobody never checked on me, it's cool. I kick back in this Maybach truck and I turn all that ambient lights to blue. Look, yo, in HMP with my dogs they sleep, but it's DXB when my dogs them free. I got a call on them for the week, it's a half a ticket to sit in this beast, but fuck that, come out up so broke, they won't understand when I flex in speech. I just gave K 5 bags, put money on your head, you won't bleed for free. TYK in a Lambo truck, everybody know I. Yo.
Let's go. Yeah. Says she need me more. Says she wanna see me more. Run a little rhythm, play TT more. Was a little boy when I made TT. Don't even want it if it ain't TT. How you run out of grub and the fiends need more. Yeah, fiends need more. We ain't run out of food, cause the fiends need more. Girl, I'm really on the way and she need 3 more. We gon' take a quick detour. Spell a couple racks in a GG. One of them niggas over there, but they need me more. Need me more. Hatchback, if you go, that's a free. Get it back, then we up and down like a no talk, no. She don't say what she saw, can't see.
It's been Huncho, BALAMII. You know what time it is. You got TYK in the building. Figzo, all the man them, Just Banco, Kilo Jug. Everyone in the building, man. It's good to just link up and vibe. You know, one's there, nothing too serious. But yeah, shout out to BALAMII. Sick platform.
So big up M Huncho. That's gonna be my tune of the day. 10:54, courtesy of M Huncho. That should be playing underneath my voice. Those of you listening via the audio side of the podcast, new single from him just dropped. Check it out. Absolutely fantastic. M Huncho is one of my favorite UK artists. Absolutely fucking love him. Phenomenal artist. Hopefully try and see him live sometime this year. But definitely check out M Huncho. He's absolutely amazing. For those of you listening, watching live, unfortunately you won't hear nothing. It'll just fade to black. Random show later on today, this evening, probably about 11:30 my time, so come back for that. And I'll see the rest of you guys again very soon. Thank you for taking part and listening to the Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 860. Peace.